All right, hello everybody, and welcome to Party Brawl 6. I am Eohdorr with my fellow caster here, Vestborgr, and we are going to get behind the scenes, going to see exactly what these teams are plotting, exactly what they're thinking. And by behind the scenes, I mean we're going to be spectating. So we're to give you a little breakdown of what we're going to be doing, we're going to be watching Those Darn Vikings versus Becky's Babes for round 1. And then we're going to be jumping on over to the other side of the bracket. Got plenty of teams here. We got 8 in total. We've got Into the Rabbit Hole. We've got Becky's Babes, a returning champion from some of the previous party brawls. Unable to participate in the past 2, I believe, but finally making a return. Going to see what they can do here. Obama-loving... I believe that's Obama's loving... Libtard? I don't know.
Obama-loving libtards, I believe.
The name keeps getting cut off, but yeah, that is their team. And we've got Dangerous, Those Darn Vikings, 2 WA teams from our clan, GG, the IRS, so be careful of these people. They could be watching you. And we
only have 4 days left, guys.
And the Party Squad. Now, I am expecting some great things out of the Becky's Babes, obviously, because they've won the previous ones, only losing 1 party brawl that they have so far participated in. Is there anyone that you're looking forward to seeing pop out of the woodwork?
Well, definitely have my eye on a couple different teams. We've got teams returning that we've been able to watch previously. For sure, I mean, being from WA, I've definitely got my eye on Those Darn Vikings and Dangerous both. Certainly also looking at Becky's Babes. Like you said, I mean, they've got some mainstays that we've seen in multiple tournaments previously. They've always been a contender, always been very successful. So I think that anybody who's watched previous Party Brawls is going to have their eye on Becky's Babes because they've been so successful. I don't want to say that they're the favorites to win, but definitely it wouldn't be a bad idea to put your money on them. Also, Into the Rabbit Hole and Those Darn Vikings both. Into the Rabbit Hole being another team that's returning. Also a pretty competitive team that has done well historically. And Those Darn Vikings, while a new team, featuring some players that are returning from previous WA teams that have competed. So guys with a lot of tournament experience. That's definitely something I would have my eye on because I think a lot of times if you play in your first tournament, sometimes... things don't always go as planned, but when you've played in a bunch of these, you tend to be relaxed. I think you play a little bit better, play at a higher level, and I think that winds up really coming in handy having that previous tournament experience. So I would say those are the ones I've kind of caught my eye on, but of course some of these new teams as well that I'm not familiar with, always waiting to see, you know, a new team pop up and surprise everyone and do really well. So certainly keeping my eye on them too.
No one going to be counted out yet. Got to see what they're going to pull off because it's never really over until you start seeing those big goal differences starting to hit that 15k point. Any game can turn around. So currently we are in champion or in the lobby waiting on one player from Those Darn Vikings. But is there any champions that you're looking forward to seeing, Vest?
Oh, it's hard to say. I think I've talked previously in tournaments that there's certain champions that I just love to see in tournaments because there's champions that might bug you, like Yasuo, when you're playing against it, or you have it on your team, right? There's always the meme of the enemy Yasuo 20-0, your Yasuo 0-20, right? You know, a lot of champions like that, I feel like I kind of think similarly about Vayne, Katarina, Zed, a lot of these kind of all-in assassins and types of champions like that can have that kind of excitement factor that's really fun to watch if you're not in the game. You know, you might feel bad for the enemy team if they get really ahead. But I'm always waiting to see people who bring those out, especially people who main it, like somebody, you know, like Yasuo One Tricks or something. I think that's such a fun thing to see. Like, we've actually gotten a chance to see Yasuo in pro play a little bit this year, and those games are always so much fun because everyone's waiting to see, will this be the fed Yasuo or the feeding Yasuo? What will come out? So I'm definitely looking forward to that. Besides that, I mean, there's a lot of exciting picks in various roles. I mean, Kaisa, I think, is another one where I think that it's been really fun to see her. Shortly after, I mean, she came out, she was underpowered. They buffed her a bunch. She was insane. I believe they nerfed her again a little bit, but still, I believe considered to be pretty competitive. So I'm definitely eager to see if Kaisa shows up in the bot lane or even is banned away. Certainly in this game in particular, have my eye on Kite. We've seen him play a number of champions, if I remember correctly, Twisted Fate, Echo. I want to say some Orianna as well. I can't quite remember everything he's played, but he definitely seems to be, sort of a playmaker kind of guy in the mid lane. So certainly any champion that he is willing to bring out, I have my eye on. I'll be waiting to see if he can make anything happen.
Definitely agree. Gotta love seeing Katarina's just pop in out of nowhere, and it's just a fun champion to have on your team. It's a fun champion to see, because if you just jump in there with Katarina, you're gonna easily die. But you gotta wait for the majority of the CC to be thrown out. So it's definitely fun to see it in a tournament setting where it's more likely that you'll get those people who are far more patient and know when to go in, instead of just feeling like, oh man, my team's about to die if I don't go in right now, even though it's a bad idea. You got a lot more room for communication to coordinate when a Katarina would jump in. So plenty of other champions will be fun to see in that. Katarina's specifically one that I've mentioned multiple times now, and someone I'm looking forward to seeing. Don't know who's going to bring it out, but it would be a fun champion to see. And then, of course, yeah, as you said, all the other champions that you had mentioned earlier are fun champions in tournament settings. Not so much fun to experience in solo queue.
Indeed.
So, we do have all 5 people from those darn Vikings and Becky's Babes. So we're just waiting on the ready checks here. And seems some are being thrown down.
Now, if I'm not mistaken, Eohdorr, you were, well, I don't know if captain's the right term. You're the general manager of those darn Vikings, are you not?
I am. I have been the one who coordinated these guys into forming a team. Ironically, one of the people who said that he would be there in a moment has not arrived yet, and so Yo Soy Kevin is a substitute who has appeared. I don't know what they're going to be doing, but I have faith in their ability to arrive. I'm not going to show favoritism towards them because I created them, obviously. But yeah, it should be fun to see them in the limelight.
Absolutely.
So to anybody who's just joining us now, welcome to the Party Brawl number 6. This is going to be a double elimination bracket where the Friday will be the winner's bracket. Tomorrow, which is Saturday, will be the loser's bracket, and the grand final, the winner of the winner's bracket and the winner of the loser's bracket, will play on Sunday, and only the grand final is a best of 3. So we are just now getting into the first round of the winner's bracket, and we will be spectating those darn Vikings versus Becky's Babes, and welcome to the stream.
Yeah, I'm not sure if this is... Ooh, here we go, Champ Select.
We are in Champion Select. Let's see what everyone's hovering and what everyone's going to be banning.
Definitely curious what lane these teams will be playing around. My first instinct is that Becky's Babes will want to play around Kite in the mid lane. I believe he's the highest ranked member of the team. Historically has shown a tendency to carry, so I don't know if they'll kind of base their bans around him somewhat. It's always a little bit funny because here in picks and bans in these tournaments, usually there's not a lot of swapping going on. Some teams will just pick straight down top jungle mid ADC support, and so there's less priority on like when you pick, but but bans, especially in the first banning phase, can be big. I'm curious if like target bans start coming out.
I believe Fizz is a good target ban, along with Echo, both known champions for Kite. So those bans coming out of those darn Vikings. And Becky's Babes banning out the Xerath, banning out the Rammus. Rammus from Variable Sketch, and then Xerath from Nightworm. Just don't want to deal with that long-range poke and the Rammus, who may be a specific ban towards Variable, or perhaps it's a champion that Variable is known to play, and they just don't want to see that matchup happen for their AD carry. But then there goes the Olaf ban from Jaja Johnny, someone who plays Olaf an extensive amount. Really loves that champion. And the final ban from those darn Vikings will be the Ahri. Now, we're going to finally see what the very first pick for Becky's Babes will be.
Ooh, it's the new Aurelia coming out right now. That's exciting to see.
Yeah, ever since the Aurelia has been reworked, a lot of people have been playing them, and I haven't seen too much amazing plays out of them. I've definitely seen a Fed Aurelia or two, but they haven't really stood out to me as better than the old Aurelia, so we're just going to have to see what happens here. Tom Kench could be picked for Jajani or Skoto, so it could be flexed into either or. I believe we're going to see that as a Tom Kench support, but we're just going to have to see what happens. But that definitely will be a Warwick jungle.
That's a smart pick because Warwick is one of Sir Cave's favorite champions, and without banning it away, they're able to take it away from him. That could be an advantageous pick for the side of those darn Vikings.
Could be indeed. We're gonna have to see what Sir Cave picks. We know he likes that Kayn, and he's gonna go with the Jax. I believe it's a champion that we've seen him on in the past. Don't quote me on that though. And he may be running Ghost and Smite. No Flash, quite a brave move for someone like Jax. Don't really see it too often.
I'm curious if he was planning on Warwick, and those are the summoner spells. Yeah,
okay,
the swap to Flash. I think he was going to pick Warwick, and that's why he had the Ghost.
Definitely. So, can see it, or at least it was what he had last time around. Could have been something that he was hovering, but then we got the Fiora lock-in alongside the Aurelia. So could that be an Aurelia mid or Fiora mid? Both are kind of weird to see. I guess Aurelia mid's not so weird on the old Aurelia, but I don't know if it's something that's being flexed into the mid lane now on the new Aurelia. And we'll see the Orianna, my favorite, being locked in for the side of those darn Vikings.
I could see Aurelia or Fiora mid. I remember Echo Fox actually brought out the Fiora mid a little bit during the LCS season. It was notoriously bad, but I believe I heard that in scrims it went well. It's considered a counter to some champions, so I'm not sure why you would blind pick it if that's the Fiora mid. I feel like Aurelia mid is the same deal, where it's something like I recall seeing that into Zed, like certain champions is supposed to work well, although that was old Aurelia, so new Aurelia I'm not really sure, but for sure it looks like one of those is mid, and it's blind picked because the Orianna comes in, so yeah, definitely curious to see what the setup is there. I mean, it looks like they're just picking straight down top jungle mid, which was suggested is the Fiora mid, so.
And then we see the Lee Sin ban. Curious on whether that's a mistake ban, a panic ban, or if they really thought Becky may be running with the Lee Sin support. Probably not something I would have expected. But then comes the proper Morgana ban, and the Thresh ban on the other side for Becky's Babes, taking it away from Skoto. And not hovering the last ban yet. Draven. And there it goes, the Draven taken away from Yo Soy Kevin.
Definitely interesting to see that Lee Sin ban. I'm not sure if they're confused by the Aurelia and the Fiora, but I mean, with the Jax, Aurelia, and Fiora picked, I mean, you'd assume that is the Jax jungle, but perhaps, like you said, just a last-minute lock-in. Ooh, there's the Vayne. That's the champion we talked about. I'd love to see that picked. Should be fun to watch.
Definitely. We got an Ezreal for the side of those Vikings. Can be tough for an Ezreal to hit that Vayne with those Qs properly. But if he can keep landing those prior to the engagements, could change the entire story. We're gonna have to see how he and Tahm Kench play together if that is a Tahm Kench support. Lulu is thrown down as the support for Becky's Babes. A great support to keep Vayne alive. And plenty of engagement if she decides to use it on the Jax or the Aurelia or Fiora. Got plenty of beefy fighters for that. But no, it won't be the Tahm Kench support. It'll be the Tahm Kench top and the Bard running with the Ezreal down in the bottom lane. Even though Tahm Kench isn't the support, late game this could be rather problematic for Becky's Babes, because Tahm Kench is just such an annoying champion to have to try to catch someone out with, because you can easily just eat the Orianna, eat the Ezreal, and get them completely out of the stun range of, or after the stun of Jax. But Fiora and Aurelia swapped around. Quite the sneaky play. It will be Aurelia mid and a Fiora top lane.
That's so interesting. The brand new Fiora, and Kite blind picks it in the mid lane. That's crazy. I'm super excited to see what he does with this pick. I mean, apparently he was willing to play this into anything. This is such an interesting comp for Becky's Babes. They have like 3 potential split pushers and then a Vayne and a Lulu. I'm not really sure how exactly they're going to play this, besides just hoping to stomp every single lane, but certainly late in the game with a Vayne and a Lulu, I think their comp is going to be pretty unstoppable, especially considering the way Warwick will kind of fall off a little bit in that later game.
They do have one major disadvantage, though. Aside from Lulu, they have no magic damage, if I recall correctly. I don't know about if there's any magic damage dealing with Kite on that Aurelia, because I haven't really read much into the scalings on her new abilities. But if that is just an 80 physical damage dealing champion, they lack a real source of magic damage, because Becky is known to build just pure support.
Well, it looks like new Aurelia actually does have a decent amount of AP built into her kit. In her ult, her E, and her W are all, and her passive, all carry a lot of bonus magic damage. So they'll have something. I don't know if like the Jax will look at like a Gunblade or something, building more of that hybrid Jax, but I guess it looks like the new Aurelia does bring some magic damage, but I mean, nothing to compare with like an Orianna, who's going to be this full AP.
Or even the Bard, who doesn't really need to build much AP to do a huge ton of magic damage. So they may have some great late game. It's going to be... It's a little questionable on how well their late game will be, considering that Warwick, Tahm Kench, and Bard can all just build armor and negate a lot of what they can do. But the Vayne is a tank shredder. Aurelia is just a strong champion in general, along with Fiora if they get ahead. So can't really say definitively on who has what in the late game, but it's definitely going to be exciting if we get to that point. So how do you feel the bot lane matchup is going to go in general with the Vayne and Lulu versus the Ezreal and Bard?
It's difficult to say. I definitely feel like Bard is a really strong laner. I'm kind of surprised he hasn't come out in professional play at all that I've seen. I feel like he's still really good. I don't recall if there is a nerf or something that came out, but I don't know. Vayne, certainly having the Lulu shield and having the tumble will help her a little bit. She can tumble away from those mystic shots from Ezreal, and the ability with that tumble to kind of reposition a little bit, along with Lulu providing those shields, I think will help somewhat, but I would say it really is going to depend on how Yosoi, Kevin, and Scodolero play this lane. I think if they play really, really well and they can land some good stuns, Scodo on the Bard, if the Ezreal can dish out a lot of poke damage, then they could have a really strong laning phase. But I think the opportunity for Vayne to have the shielding and be able to tumble out of the way of some of those skill shots or reposition could keep them very safe in the laning phase. I think definitely like there's going to be a timer on Scodolero and Yosoi Kevin. They've got to like win this lane and dish out some damage early on before that Vayne just starts becoming insane.
Definitely a possibility. How do you feel about these jungle and top matchups? Because I know Tom Kench and Fiora is a pretty common matchup. Don't see too many Warwick and Jax.
I definitely feel that the Warwick versus Jax matchup is interesting because Sir Cave is like a Warwick main. So I feel like he picked Jax knowing it's something that will be strong against the Warwick. Like, I feel like he's going to know how to play against that champion really well. But that said, I think Warwick is just so strong 1v1 early on. Like, I'm definitely going to have my eye on Variable Sketch in that matchup just to see, like, how he plays. Like, I think if he can play really aggressively and, like, not get caught, like, not play so aggressive, like, pull a rush and just, like, die invading the enemy jungler 3 times. As long as he doesn't do that, but he plays aggressively enough to push that champion's early strengths, I would give the early edge over to the Warwick, but I don't know. Like I said, like Sir Cave, like he knows how that champion works. He might have a number of ways. He might know how Sketch is going to path. He might have a lot of insight into how that Warwick is going to be played. So I don't know. I would say it's just a question of can Variable Sketch play aggressively and push the advantage, but not too aggressively. And Sir Cave, I mean, is he going to be able to play around that champion that he knows so well and be able to counter? Because he had the counter pick, so he's got to feel good about the Jax going into it. No reason he would pick, a matchup he didn't feel could do well into Warwick.
Well, gonna have to see if he really does know what he's doing and if that was something that he chose into that. Or maybe it's just another comfort pick. We'll have to see. But as we're getting into it, one last reminder. Welcome to the Party Brawl 6. This is the 6th installment of the Party Brawl. And we are currently watching round 1 of the winner's bracket for Friday. And we are watching those darn Vikings, which are on the red side, versus Becky's Babes, which is on the blue side. And good luck to both teams. And the winner of this will proceed on to the next round. The loser of this will proceed to the bottom of the loser's bracket, which will be playing tomorrow. So if one of these teams are your favorite, don't worry, they have another chance tomorrow. But it seems that we've got the standard line of detecting vision, no real aggressive invades from either team. It seems they're going to be just standard starting paths. Those darn Vikings looking for that blue, and Becky's Babes looking for the red. Should just see some standard leashes here. And the lanes have begun. And no stopwatches this time. The League of Stopwatches has just gotten completely in the grave here. There's no sight of them anywhere. But Vayne picking up that Doran shield, looking to play a little bit safe against the Ezreal for now. Doesn't have a really strong laning phase, so makes sense. And there he goes. Don't worry, you're gonna hear my sweet tones only for a while. So Vayne and Lulu actually being pushed back by the Ezreal Bard just a little bit. Don't want to at all get too aggressive, too oversteppy. And Ezreal landing those Mystic shots, already getting a pretty sizable CS lead. It's going to be rough for the Vayne and Lulu early on. Orianna throwing out a little bit of harass. Aurelia just trying to get whatever CS she can. And the first dragon that'll be up is a mountain dragon. Great for those teams that are looking to take down those turrets quickly and melt those barons. And Aurelia going in, doing some harass damage on the Orianna, getting her below half health, but then the Orianna is able to just walk away. Aurelia didn't really burn anything, neither did Orianna. Just gonna flex her Aurelian swords just a little bit. See Warwick and Jax near the northwest side of the map. Tom Kench roaming down a little bit, possibly looking for something mid, but Aurelia is going back, so won't find anything there. It just goes right back up to the top lane. Jax just going back through his jungle, clearing what he can. No early signs of aggression that you would love to see out of these, this Warbrick and this Jax. And Aurelia just getting back to lane, and Vayne taking a lot of punishment. Lulu's caught. There's a lot of minions, but they're going in. Bard is getting very low. Flash in from the Vayne. The Jax glances the Q and W and manages to pick up the first blood. Ezreal's behind 3 people. This is not good. The polymorph lands, and he is so dead. Jax gets a double kill. And a great gank by Sir K. Ezreal does manage to pick up that tier, though. It's the item that he's looking to get when he first backs. So may see some continued aggression despite what has happened. And we're seeing not too big of CS disparities here. Just about a 7, 8 or so CS difference between Tahm Kench and Fiora. Tahm Kench actually losing out just a little bit despite pushing so hard. And then mid lane is about even, only 3 CS, so no real difference there. Bot lane has managed to catch up in terms of CS between the Vayne and the Ezreal. Definitely helps that Ezreal and Bard were killed for a while, but Warwick is here. Warwick is spotted out by the ward, so they know that this is happening, but Vayne has no heal. She could flash. It gets stunned. The Warwick Fear almost lands. The flash in from the Ezreal gets the last auto, and that Vayne will go down. And that will be a kill for the Ezreal. A great gank by Warwick, and possibly looking to do the dragon. Jax is nearby. And I don't think he threw down a ward. But he does see that this is happening. And those darn Vikings will back off. Orianna taking a lot of damage. Aurelia diving. Disarmed by Orianna. The flash in from the Aurelia to get the kill. But unfortunately, could not get out. Tahm Kench eating the Fiora, taking a lot of damage, but dealing a lot back. And the Fiora will get the last hit. The ult providing just enough damage to kill the Tahm Kench. Oh man, Lulu is stunned. Forced to walk the other way. Taking a lot of damage from the Ezreal Bard combo, but no kill arriving for them just yet. Jax is looking down the bot lane. Oh, but it looks like he's just going to go for his red. Tahm Kench burning teleport in order to get up to top lane much faster. And we can see some early aggression coming out of both teams. Both teams looking hungry for those kills. Aurelia's roaming down to the bot lane. Jax is nearby. They know it's warded out, but... And because they know it's warded out, they're going to back off. And there's the ward pings. The Aurelia returns to the mid lane. Nothing comes out of the roam. So still, plenty of aggression coming out of the Tahm Kench and the Fiora alike. Stun lands, but Tahm Kench is really low. He's got to be careful here. And the Aurelia diving in on the Orianna, doing plenty of damage. The Orianna ult does not make it. The Aurelia will just walk away with that free ult takedown. Orianna's got to be careful though. Aurelia going right back in, lands the stun. The auto's hurt and the ult goes down and the Aurelia gets the kill. Jax there just in case, but was not necessary. And an alarm goes off. We can only speculate what the hidden meaning of that alarm could be. Oh, the Fiora activates her ult. The Tahm Kench eat does not go through. The parry lands just in time, and the Fiora will get the kill on the Tahm Kench. And 4 members of Becky's Babes are hovering near the dragon. Aurelia looks like she wants to go back, and Jax will do the same, so no dragon take quite yet. Jax perhaps rethinking it, maybe looking for a bot lane gank. trying to be wary of those bushes, knowing that there may be a ward there for those darn Vikings. And not too much happening. Bot lane still trying to be oppressed by that Ezreal. Another alarm. Let's just turn all those off. A lot of pressure for their bot lane duo on the side of Becky's Babes. Some great damage coming out of the Bard. Orianna taking a lot of damage from the Aurelia. Just a little bit of poke though. No engage, or rather, oh man, the stun and the ignite will come down, and the Aurelia gets it. The ult from Warwick does not connect, and Aurelia will get away scot-free. Oh, but then Aurelia goes in on the Warwick. The stun lands, but Warwick's Sphere and Flash are used. Aurelia may still be looking for something here. Tahm Kench is coming in along with the Bard. Aurelia is being cornered on away from the tower, but she'll just be running up top, and Fiora is looking down in order to connect with her ally. The stun lands on Tahm Kench. Tahm Kench is getting into a 3v1 though. This is a really bad chase for him, and the Fiora and Jax are here. The flash away from Tahm Kench. The Jax stun will not connect, but it will not be enough to escape the Fiora as Fiora takes Tahm Kench down for another kill, giving them a total of a 3k gold advantage, along with 4 kills at 10 minutes. Orianna Shockwave comes down, but looking worse for wear. Aurelia getting pretty low from that tower. Warwick here looking for the Jax. The Fear is about to land. The Jax flash doesn't work, and the Fiora, or the Warwick gets the solo kill. Actually, not the solo kill, the assist kill with the Orianna. Hard stun lands on the Lulu. Not much coming out of it though. But they're still pushing. The Warwick is solo taking the Mountain Dragon. Becky's Babes have no idea that this is happening. Jax is in no position to really get at it, so it should be a free Mountain Dragon for the side of those darn Vikings. Another stun lands on the Vayne, just a little bit of a poke, and the Dragon finally goes down. Vayne taking a lot of damage, actually. The stun manages to land, the Ezreal ult does not connect. But Jax is here to ward away Ezreal and Bard, and they will just walk away. Aurelia looking like she may want something. The stun does not connect. The next dragon will be Mountain. Fiora then, Aurelia just lands the ult on Orianna and then kills Orianna under the tower. Really strong Aurelia at this point. The stun does land on the Warwick. And Aurelia will just get away scot-free. A 4-1-1 Aurelia. Very strong right now. Along with the 3-0 Fiora. But Tahm Kench is doing a lot of damage. Fiora gets the final ult proc and is healing so much. The stun is just not enough. The heal is too massive. And will get the Tahm Kench. But Warwick is coming up. They do know Warwick is here. Fiora may be looking for this kill. Warwick just kind of backing off, not wanting to go in on it, I don't think. But maybe he does. The Fear does not connect. And we'll just go for the CS. Fiora now 4-0. This is a dangerous looking Fiora and Aurelia. Warwick taking a lot of harass, goes in on the Fiora, and the Fear does not connect, or at least does not do much. Fiora being forced to chase away. Aurelia taking plenty of damage from the Bard and the Orianna, but just eats up the berries in the river. Should be fine. Pinging out where Fiora is in the jungle. No one really near to really stop it. And then the Orianna almost getting caught out by the Aurelia. Had to flash away. Jax is surrounded by almost all ends, but so is Tahm Kench, going in on being engaged by the Fiora and the Jax and the Aurelia. This is just another 3v1, and Tahm Kench will go down to the Aurelia, making this Aurelia 5-1-1. This This does not bode well for those darn Vikings. And the Aurelia ult goes in, and then she's going on the Warwick. The Bard ult lands on the Bard, and he will get away. After the flash, Aurelia taken very low after the tower shots, but Orianna cannot chase to get the kill. Fiora's here to keep the pursuers at bay. Aurelia just diving in, looking for that kill. Flashes, but the Ezreal ult and the tower shot will kill the Aurelia and get the shutdown gold for him. Jax going in on the Aurelia, the barrier saving Orianna's life. Jax being taken very low, may have gotten a little bit too aggressive. The flash from the Ezreal will get that kill. And Ezreal is now 3-1 after getting 2 kills on the Fiora and the, or sorry, not the Fiora, the Aurelia and the Jax. And welcome back to the caster's booth, Vest. I understand you went to go get a drink of water.
Yes, that's exactly what happened. Thank you for having me back. Apologies for the absence.
No worries, I understand. Sometimes it takes me a while to find the water bottle. Lulu taken very low from the Bard, and the kill will go over to Tahm Kench. And this should be the first tower for those darn Vikings. The stun lands onto the Bard. Aurelia going in very deep, but it's in a 1v5, and Ezreal will get the kill. War flashes just in case, but the Aurelia does go down. Another kill for Ezreal. This Ezreal is going to look like the carry that may very well get those darn Vikings back into this game. Some pings going out on Rift Herald, possibly going to do that, but Fiora heading up top lane to clear out that massive wave. Going to be a lot of gold for her. Orianna saved by the Tahm Kench. Very, very important. Looks like the mid tower is just getting lower and lower, but they can't quite take it. Not without Ezreal there. Ezreal pushing down the bot lane. And looks like those darn Vikings are just gonna have to back off here. Aurelia is back up and is looking for more kills, is very hungry. Stun does not connect on Orianna, will not be a kill there. But they're looking for that Fiora. 3 members of those darn Vikings are here. Fiora is just trying to get away.
There's the Q.
The Tahm Kench tongue, the flash, the eat does not succeed. The parry has already been thrown out. The stun on the, but the Bard's being taken very low by the Jax. Fiora's looking to get that ult proc, and the Bard will go down. The Fiora is healing a lot, and the Tahm Kench will go down to the Aurelia.
Oh!
And that will be 2 kills for Becky's Babes with nothing handed over for those darn Vikings. A great comeback from that whole fight, which looked disastrous for the Fiora.
Just bought enough time, and then Jax, Aurelia, and Fiora, all 3 of those fighters just absolutely demolishing that fight.
And it looks like this will be a free Rift Herald over. Those darn Vikings don't know and can't do anything about it. And it will head over, and it will be picked up by the Jax. I'm going to see if he's going to want to do that in the mid lane, bot lane, or top lane. I just have to keep an eye on him.
They've got a wave pushing top, but that last outer turret is in the bot lane. Probably wouldn't be a bad idea to use it there. Just try to shove that down.
But nothing happens. Just unfortunately has to back off. Perhaps looking a little bit for too much, hoping that stun would land. But I believe Bard flashed and now has his Hex flash. So we'll just get out scot-free. A little bit of contesting over the Mountain Dragon, perhaps. Pinging it out, thinking that they're doing it. And perhaps Becky's Babes will start doing the dragon. They're looking. Those darn Vikings are looking for that Fiora, though, and the dragon will go over to Becky's Babes, and they can't get Fiora. But they are collapsing on them. They're looking for that tower. Fiora gets stunned by the Bard, but nothing's happening yet. The Orianna ult lands, and the Bard and Warwick will both go down, being chased by the Vayne and the Fiora, taking a lot of damage. And there's the final auto that Fiora gets onto the Orianna. That will be 4 No, 3 deaths. And Fiora's looking for the Tahm Kench. The Rift Herald will be summoned mid. Ezreal just trying to hold off on his own. Jax goes in with the Q and the stun lands, doing plenty of damage. The press of the attack must hurt. The Fiora finally engaging on that Tahm Kench. The stun does not connect though. Ezreal going in very deep. Gets stunned by the Vayne, but nothing coming through for it. The Rift Herald will die. Won't be able to hit another tower. Tahm Kench being taken very low from the Fiora. The shield won't last much longer. And there's no stun and will be going down to the Aurelia. Or to the Fiora. I keep getting those two mixed up. It's just something you don't see.
Very true. Man, getting that mid lane inner turret, that's just giving them the keys to Baron right now. Just like a series of huge victories for the side of Becky's Babe. Looks like another Mountain Drake is on the table. So Mountain Drake's on either side. We'll see who picks up number 2. Oh, they get a turret on the side, so they're getting something back this side of those darn Vikings.
Ooh, Jax has been stunned by the Bard and will go down. Orianna Shockwave just to make sure that he couldn't pull any flash shenanigans. But Aurelia is pushing down that bot lane. Those darn Vikings look like they're trying to collapse in on this. Aurelia's going to start running away. Can they make it in time to stop her?
She still has flash.
Oh, nice use of the Blast Cone by the Orianna. The stun onto the Ezreal and the Orianna goes down. Flashes away from the Bard ult. Orianna taking a lot of damage but will survive. Aurelia almost landing the stun, but the Aurelia going down very low. Warwick ult does not connect, but it doesn't matter. The Aurelia goes down, but the Vayne chases down the Orianna, being surrounded by 4 people though. Ezreal and Tahm Kench will get that kill. And Fiora is also on the wrong side, could not jump over the wall. But Ezreal getting very aggressive. Could this be too aggressive? Fiora is getting decently low, but Fiora does also have her ult. Bard looking to go in. The ult goes down on the Bard. The Bard flashes away. Fiora can't get the last proc and will go down to the Ezreal.
The recalls.
A great side of victories for those darn Vikings. And Ezreal getting quite a lot of kills.
I think they got too optimistic when they saw that Kite was like almost 1v3, and they just started going in one by one. Like Fiora just totally in the wrong spot there, and I think Vayne as well, kind of forgetting that they were heavily outnumbered. And I don't think Jax and Lulu were there for any of that.
Definitely just a little bit overstepping. We'll see if they keep doing it. But it is only a 4K gold difference. Can't get too overly aggressive here. It's not too hard to throw away the advantage that you've gained. And likewise for the other side of those darn Vikings, not too hard to get that advantage back.
They get that turret in the bot lane. I mean, it's only a 3K gold lead, actually.
Jax looking like he has to get out. Has to flash though. Aurelia going in on the Ezreal. Manages to land a stun. The Ezreal is being taken very low. The Orianna goes down to the Aurelia. On the other side, the Jax manages to finish off the Tahm Kench. Lulu is Bard ulted, but Bard will go down before he can get the kill by Aurelia. Once again, Ezreal manages to get the back, but this may be the Baron for Becky's Babes.
Barring a miracle, I mean, True Shot Barrage is not even up if they burst it down fast enough. I guess Sketch is up. Will he look for a steal? Maybe. It's got Smite, but no Flash.
Oh!
We'll have to ult over.
Almost. The Jax does get it in the end, though. They both had smited. A good attempt, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, it was close. Like, he had his chance.
Especially considering that the ward was blocked from vision. So now that Becky's Babes has the Baron buff, it is only a 7k gold advantage. I say only because it's still not within the realm of a complete defeat yet. There is still room for those darn Vikings to come back. 15,000 gold is often when we see a team just has almost no chance of coming back. I would say a 95 to 99% likelihood that that team is just not coming back. barring some serious throws or some serious turtling.
Yeah, I mean, we've definitely seen teams come back from 7,000, but in my opinion, the scaling is pretty significantly on the side of Becky's Babes. Like, sure, those darn Vikings can stall this out, but I think Becky's Babes is probably fine with that, with the Vayne and with Warwick, I mean, hitting late game as well.
The ult goes down on the Vayne. Vayne has to flash away. Fiora going in, but the Warwick ult will suppress the Fiora. Warwick getting shredded, though, by the Lulu. Will get the kill. Not shredded by the Lulu, but the Lulu will get the kill.
She did some damage. She was helping.
Was earned.
Earned kill.
Yeah.
Secured.
Really looking for that Tom Kench. The Ezreal being caught out. The Bart ult will not help in any way. And the Ezreal manages to get out. The heal and the E burn. Incredible.
I don't know how he made it out of that. That was another Bart ult that I was like, I think Becky's Babes is quite happy with that one, but he lives somehow.
And this is going to be the third Mountain Dragon going over. And it looks like it'll go over to Becky's Babes. I don't think those darn Vikings can really contest this. But they may be looking too, but it's already gone.
You can see they've got a couple wards around their blue buff, and that's about it. They've got no control of the map right now. Losing that mid lane inner turret, just a disaster.
Ezreal taking a lot of damage from the Vayne. Vayne perhaps stepping a little bit too far, though. Ezreal manages to get the kill. Godlike on him. The Q manages to land on the Lulu, and you gotta think she's almost certainly dead. The Warwick will get the final bite, if you will, and will pick that up, bringing the kills to a pretty, I don't know, I would say a decent amount.
That's just pretty bloody. Just coming from watching, you know, an LCK VOD. There's a couple of kills happening.
Oh man, Bard is getting caught out by the Aurelia. The stun managed to land, but there's no way that he can get out. The ult tries to be thrown, but just not in time. Aurelia will pick up the kill. Looks for another stun on Tom Kench. Does not find it. Tom Kench looks like he wants this fight, but this is a really fed Aurelia. But Fiora also, on the other hand, killing Orianna immediately, going in on that Ezreal. The stun from the Aurelia lands on the Tom Kench and will get the kill. Ezreal is being chased by the Fiora, and they both kill each other. The final bout between Aurelia and Warwick, and the Aurelia will be the winner. A 15-4-5 Aurelia. Close, but man, is that a strong Aurelia.
Becky's Babes not really playing this, like, initiating any team fights. They're really going in 1 or 2v5, and sometimes it's not working, but it's working more often than not that they're just continuing to get objectives.
This definitely doesn't spell good news for those darn Vikings. They're now 10,000 gold behind. This is usually the realm where teams in the LCS and other areas of professional play will say this is kind of almost unturnable. But
yeah, at this point, it's so tough, and the Vayne as well is getting so tough. And even just looking, I mean, Fiora and Aurelia, it seems like it takes the entirety of those darn Vikings to deal with one of those threats, and I don't know how they approach this. I think the one thing that those darn Vikings have on their side is Becky's Babes. They don't really appear to be playing very organized. They're just, you know, Kite or Tsungale or they're just going in like 1v5. So that plays to the advantage of those darn Vikings a little bit, because if they play as a 5-man and group up and are able to just take those threats one at a time, maybe they have a chance to win some of these fights. They've already won some and off of the back of Becky's Babes being over-aggressive, so there's like a glimmer of hope, but it's a huge lead, and so many members of Becky's Babes are so strong.
The Warwick ult goes down, but it doesn't quite connect with the Aurelia. Warwick taking a lot of punishment for this. Aurelia and Vayne are all there, and they go down with the Tom Kench. The Jax trying to get that Ezreal, but goes down in the process. Ezreal looking nice and healthy. Vayne looking perhaps to kill him. The auto, for some reason, doesn't land. They continue the chase. Fiora taken very low, but so is Orianna. The Bard ult doesn't really connect with anybody and goes down. And that'll be a lot of healing for Becky's Babes. Ezreal and Orianna being the only ones who make it out, and Jax being the only one to die for Becky's Babes. This could be the game-winning moment.
They keep the carries alive. If you want anybody to live, it's going to be the Ezreal and the Ori, but... Oh, did I speak too soon?
Ezreal, Orianna. Oh man, Aurelia is going in and gets the kill. Tahm Kench and Warwick is here for their final stand. But Warwick's taking a lot of punishment. The Orianna goes down, but I don't think it's just enough. Vayne dies to the tower. But Aurelia and Fiora are both just so strong that it doesn't really matter. Nexus turrets are slowly but surely falling. Just trying to pick up the Bard kill for another kill. Aurelia will get it. And as the Nexus is being slapped by the Aurelia and the Fiora, that will be the victory for Becky's Babes. GG.
GG indeed. Wow, that was just terrifying to watch the Fiora and the Aurelia just jumping in on those fights.
Aurelia mid is always a terrifying sight to see, in my opinion, because it's just such a weird pick. You think, oh, it's just an Aurelia, it's just a top laner, it's not going to be that problematic. Oh, wait, where's my health bar? It's kind of like a Zed or a Yasuo. You don't ever expect it, and why would you? Because no one does it. But I'm going to have to say the question that you always ask. Who do you think is the MVP in this match?
It's really tough to say. I mean, I missed a few minutes of the match, but I think if you look at the kill, participation, I mean, it's got to be between Soongale and Kite. I think both of them just absolutely popped off. I mean, they both had GAs, and I don't think either one got popped one time ever. And I think, to me, like, that's like a stat in and of itself. Like, they had the money for the items, and they didn't even need those items. Like, that tells you how well they were doing. I think, looking at the stats, I'm probably going to give it to Kite, and I think I'm just remembering, like, some of those engages that he just went in, like, 1v3, 1v4, and won or nearly won. Like, he just looks so dominant, but I'd say those two did so well carrying. Like, I would give, like, half an MVP point to both if I could, but if I have to pick, I'm going to go with Kite. I mean, the Aurelia mid, I think, with the new Aurelia was like a surprising thing, and he brought it out and just dominated. So I think that's an MVP performance right there.
I definitely agree. Aurelia is definitely a good person for MVP. I'm gonna throw mine over to Fiora though. I saw so many clutch Fiora ults that just made me think, wow, amazing. That was great. Just so many times that Fiora's dropped below 100 health and managed to just kill Tahm Kench, or managed to kill Warwick, or managed to get a 2v1 outplay. I think Fiora is definitely a deserving candidate for MVP, along with Aurelia, and I'm going to throw it over to Fiora because I think it was impressive.
I think that's the way it should be, one of us for each, because they were both looking so good. I mean, the whole of Becky's Babes, like, from the draft through the game, that was one of the most aggressive games I've ever seen. Like, I don't think at any point there was, like, a concerted effort to take a tower or, like, sway around the lane or something. It was just kill, 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 kill. Like, and I think even in pick and ban, they said, let's get the Fiora, let's get the Aurelia, let's get the Vayne, and let's just 1v1. Like, let's just take them down. And that's what they did. It was a very aggressive draft, and they played it aggressively. And whether through the comp of those darn Vikings or how they played that comp, it really didn't feel like they had much of an answer, especially once those carries on the side of Becky's Babe started getting fed. Like, it just looked so difficult to deal with that.
Well, GG to both teams regardless. If you are looking to see those darn Vikings again, do not worry. They will be playing again tomorrow in the first round of the losers bracket against GG. But as you can see from what's on the stream, we have an update. We've got the Obama-loving libtards versus the IRS, both defeating their opponents, which were the Party Squad and Dangerous, respectively. Congratulations to the IRS and the Obama-loving libtards. I'm just gonna say Obama-loving from now on because it feels like such a lovely name.
The Obamas.
And then we've got on the other side of what we just watched, Becky's Babes will go to face into the rabbit hole. So congratulations to them, and do not worry, once again, we will see the other teams face each other in the losers bracket, and then that's where we'll start sending people home, because we traveled them out here in order to play.
Go back to California.
But anyways, we will be jumping into Obama Loving versus the IRS for this time around. And we do see some familiar names of previous contenders. We see people like Inf Taco, we see Bazen Josh, and I believe we see Azure Candy on the side of Obama Loving.
Zakam as well, a well-known face around the Party People server.
Indeed. Nothing is wrong with the name. I believe it's a great name. I love it. Specifically love it. And hopefully we can get just as much action out of this one as we did in the last one. Gotta love those bloodthirsty games, even though it does cause absolutely no time for rest.
Indeed. I mean, it's one of those games where there's like a fight happening and there's two other fights all over the map and somebody's dying, like 3 people are dying at those different locations all at the same time. Like, it becomes difficult to keep track of. It's so chaotic.
So as we are waiting in the lobby, we are currently waiting on just one more person. But yeah, looks like we did get to see some fun choices. We got to see the Aurelia mid for one. It's definitely something that you want to see. It's just awkward, and then of course you've got the standard picks of like a Warwick jungle. We've seen a lot of them throughout the party brawls and throughout the WA tournaments. We see them all the time. You don't see Jax too often, and you don't see Tom Kench top too often. So those were definitely exciting to see. Not really rare, but definitely unique. But enough of me jibber-jabbering, let's get into Champion Select, which they are currently in. So let's see what these teams decide to ban. If you are just joining us, welcome to Party Brawl 6. This is round 2 of the winner's bracket. And right now we are watching Obama-loving libtards on the blue side versus the IRS on the red side. And yes, they are currently watching you right now as you are judging them. So we can see the Kaisa banned immediately. We're not going to see any of that. A little disappointing because, you know, you want to see the newer champion being played, but clearly they don't want to see that at all.
Yeah, I mean, Kaisa, I feel like not only is it fun because she's new, I think just her playstyle, the ability to ult and jump on the enemy backline is so much fun to watch. Not going to see that, but I understand it because she is really strong. I mean, Zaya as well, not as new of a champion, but really strong ADC too.
And of course, we got the Darius band as well. But on the other side, we've got a Zaya and a Kled band. Kled not a champion we see really ever, if I'm being honest. It's one of those rare champions that you want to see.
Yeah, I feel like Kled is one of those like pocket picks in the top lane. Like Licorice from Cloud9 brought it out and did really well. Like I think that I'm not sure how the Conqueror Keystone, some of that affects Kled. Maybe that's something people can take on him. Definitely seems like something that people bring out really rarely, but not really a typical pick for quite a while this season. Lee Sin banned away as well.
And the Ornn picked for the top lane, a fun champion. Really strong in the top lane, got plenty of sustain, even though you wouldn't really think it. It's just like a small shield, but it comes up so often and is such a great trading tool that it feels like it really is sustain. And he's got scaling all over the place, but mostly just builds a pure tank and does a ton of damage regardless. And then we're seeing it, Jarvan and Skarner in the jungle. Great champions. I gotta love seeing the Skarner. It's a rare pick, quite frankly.
Yeah, I feel like Jarvan can be so iffy because I think a lot of when you take Jarvan, it's a question of like, do people on the enemy team have an easy way out of the Cataclysm? Like, you see like an immobile ADC. They did ban the Xayah away, so that's like, I feel like Xayah is one of those ADCs that Jarvan hates to deal with. But I definitely think Jarvan is like a really good jungler. Like, it's easy to gank with him. He's very like straightforward, I feel like. But I think it will depend on the enemy team comp. And certainly Skarner is really good. I mean, one of my favorite things is Skarner with a Thresh support. I'm not sure if this is something that they'll look to bring out, but Skarner can ult somebody and then take a lantern, and they're absolutely gone. Flash, dash does not matter. I would love to see them bring that out, because that could be really fun to watch.
Well, regardless, we see the Aurelia banned. Curious if they thought maybe this is a Morgana support and thought maybe an Aurelia mid trying to mimic Becky's babes. You know, maybe just trying to copy. But the Leona ban also kind of confuses me. Do they think that this is a Morgana support or a Morgana mid? But
yeah, that is true. I mean, I'm not sure what exactly they're looking at. I mean, it could even be Ornn support, I guess. Like, with an Aurelia mid already seen, it's tough to know where people are going to go, but definitely a little bit puzzling.
Yeah, but regardless, we do see the Lulu and Caitlyn ban on their side of Obama loving, and there's the Ezreal lock-in. We saw him last game, was pretty terrifying, and the Soraka to keep him nice and healthy. Going to be really really tough for someone like Tristana to deal with, because Ezreal just kind of, I believe Ezreal would out damage the Tristana, because it's just so easy to land those Mystic shots at least twice, and I don't believe Tristana has enough damage. But with the Zyra, oh no, the Nami locked in instead. With the Zyra, they definitely would have had enough damage, but the Nami will give Tristana plenty of sustain. So I think this bot lane could go either way. What do you think?
It definitely could. I mean, traditionally, the thought is that Tristana has a worse laning phase since they nerfed her, because they wanted her to be one of those ADCs that has to get like 3 items or something to really start doing damage. But most of the time, I see Tristana do really well in the laning phase. With the Nami, I think she'll be absolutely fine. Like, I do actually feel like the Nami is a little bit better than the Soraka. I've played a ton of Soraka, and I feel like Nami is one of those champions that is really hard to deal with as a Soraka, because, I mean, she's got the ability to empower auto attacks and slows, and Soraka doesn't have that built into her kit. So I feel like Tristana will be feeling a little bit better in that laning phase, just thanks to those empowered autos from Nami and providing that slow. It's going to be really helpful for the ganks too. They have a Skarner on their side, which is definitely going to, I don't know, create some pressure in the bot lane. But at the same time, I could see this bot lane like not having that much action, because Ezreal can jump away, Tristana can jump away, or Ezreal can arcane shift away rather, and Nami and Soraka providing so much sustain. Like, I could see this just be like an AFK farming lane, possibly, but I guess it depends how they play it. But for sure, I mean, the Ezreal, in theory, is going to have the stronger laning phase, just by the way the champions are supposed to be designed. But like I said, like, I feel like Tristanas don't do that badly in laning phase. It could matter what keystones they take and how they play it a little bit. But like I said, yeah, I agree, it's kind of a toss-up.
Well, if that's a toss-up, you know, can't really get too much of an opinion on that, on who's going to really win, so may not be looking specifically to either side to carry. Do you think that the top lane may be a deciding factor, or do you think the jungler is just going to be a huge part of like when the junglers gank? So how do you feel about the top and jungle matchups?
Well, and so I don't want to be one of those analysts that goes like, well, I don't know, it could go either way on every single lane. So I think in the bot lane, I would give the edge over to Bazan, Joshua, and Berserk Candy just during the laning phase, just because I think the Ezreal can be really strong. Even though I believe Nami has a little bit of an advantage over Soraka, I'll give it a slight edge over to them during that laning phase. As for top and jungle, I do think that a lot of the onus for who's going to win these teams is going to be on the jungle. Like, Skarner and Jarvan are both like excellent gankers, especially once they hit that level 6. Like, they can have a huge impact. Mid lane, it could be a little bit tough. Ahri can ult out of the Cataclysm, and Morgana can spell shield the Skarner ulti or the Ahri charm. Perhaps they can play around the availability of some of those, but I think this could be one of those games where we see the top jungle, like a lot of ganks focused around the top lane, because I mean, Jax can ward hop away. Like there's a little bit of opportunity to back up, but I think those are probably where both junglers are going to have the best luck. I think they're going to have their eyes on there. Orin can be so good too. I actually was just going to throw out when I saw who was picked that it's one of those champions I was wishing for those Darn Vikings on their behalf that they had it last game. I think it would have been really good against all those fighters because Orin is just so difficult to play against him. He gets the shield from his W, is unstoppable, his ulti is so useful and such a low cooldown. He's such a big, just in-your-face, crowd control type of tank that, I don't know, I think he's a really, really strong champion, even though they nerfed him a little bit. But yeah, I definitely have my eye on that top lane jungle matchup. As for who wins it, I lean towards the Jax and the Skarner, I think, just because I think Skarner is still such a terror in the jungle right now. He's such a strong pick. And there's not really anything that Jarvan or Orin can do against the Impale. So I think if they play that well, I would give it over to the Skarner and the Jax. But I think that's another close matchup. It's not like a face roll, oh, they're done for type of matchup. We'll have to see.
All right, and then we've got the keystones finally loaded up. We've got the electrocute on Ahri. Definitely not a thing you'd readily expect. You could easily see an arcane comet or Ahri, but we're gonna go see the electrocute, possibly looking to get those assassinations out on that Ezreal, or just trying to kill that Soraka early on. Could see some great plays there. But we are finally into the game. Now, another reminder to anyone who's literally just joining us. How come you weren't watching earlier? But this is Party Brawl 6, and this is round 2. Right now, we are watching Obama-loving libtards on the blue side versus the IRS, who is currently watching you right now on the red side. And we're going to see who wins. The winner of this will go on to face the finalists between Becky's Babes and Into the Rabbit Hole. And I will provide you with updates the moment I can on the conclusion of that match. But let's get into this game. We can see perhaps Obama Loving looking for maybe a little bit of aggression here. All 5 members are in a slight position to invade, but this is warded out.
Yeah, I mean, they can secure the crystal, their Spire at least. I might get contested though.
They will see Morgana. They will see everybody, so they know everyone's here. Just trying to grab that crystal, as you said.
6 gold apiece, guys. 2G.
The REQ has landed. It looks like a solid game over. It was a good attempt.
Yeah.
Go
next, guys. Open mid. Ahri landed the Q. They got the Spire.
Looks like they're still looking to fight this hopeless battle. I guess we've got to give them their chance. I don't know. But once again with the starts, no Dorn Shield this time. Both AD carries possibly looking to just be aggressive. And corrupting potions by both Jax and Orin, possibly looking to just really get that surprise kill here. Both going for damage or the sustain that it provides. Could do either or with that item.
It's interesting that Orin went with the Conqueror keystone. I don't really know that much about which champions can take Conqueror, but I feel like Orin was historically like an Aftershock or a Grasp user, so maybe this is more of like an aggro damagey Orin, perhaps? I'm kind of curious how he's going to build that and how he's going to play it. Definitely interesting that he picked that up.
We'll have to see what he's thinking soon. Jax going in for a little bit of damage. He's level 2. Orin is not. This is a lot of damage for Orin to be taking, but he will get away. A level up will provide him with a little bit of health. Jax going right back in, though. So low. but no flash burned on either side. Both just patiently holding on to it. Jarvan is up there, ready for that counter gank, or ready for the gank.
Jarvan's level 3. Jax could be in trouble here.
And it looks like he may very well be. He gets not. Oh, manages to flash out of the Jarvan knockup. Ornn does not flash at all, however. So quite the successful gank from Jarvan. Skarner's looking up top too, possibly looking to protect Jax in case Jarvan's coming for the return. But Jarvan's doing his Gromp, and looks like Skarner will back off and go for his red. Jarvan having an easier time clearing his jungle just a little bit, and seems to be heading back up top lane.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the only lane they can really gank half the time.
Ornn goes in, gets stunned by the Jax. Ornn still has flash, but Jax does not, and Jarvan gets the last auto. Ornn
so close.
Still holds on to his flash. Soraka taking a lot of damage from Tristana. The bomb will hurt. The Nami bubble does land. Just a little bit of poke on Ezreal, but the minions are starting to hurt. Nami's taking a lot of damage from these minions. Got to back off. And she finally will. But due to all the minion damage that they were taking, I'd have to say that that Obama-loving bot lane has really gotten the better edge of that trade. So Ornn backed, got all his health and mana back.
You did indeed. That was such a close fight, top, and like you said, so much discipline holding onto the flash there.
Yeah. Oh,
but
nice dodge from the binding. Just a little bit of poke out onto the Morgana. Morgana has 2 health potions. She should be just fine. Jarvan is nearby just in case. But yeah, you want to usually think, oh, I hate it when I flash too early, but I'd rather flash in just in case than not flash and die like a fool. But Ornn knows exactly when to flash.
Calculated.
He's running them internal calculations. Jack's looking like he wants a little bit more damage, but he's taking a lot of it himself. Press the attack, or Guardian doing a lot of damage though, and will just be fine. An even trade for both sides. Ahri does have to flash away from the Jarvan in the mid lane.
Yeah, I mean, it's true, like, Morgana has the Black Shield already, but Ahri's not yet level 6, so she doesn't have that ability to escape just yet. So I guess the Cam kind of hoping to get something, to get that flash early before Dragon Killer hits that window where he can just take that Ahri ult and just run away from any kind of trouble.
But a huge CS disparity between them. 20 CS. Actually, 14 CS between Ahri and Morgana. Quite the difference, if I must say. Morgana falling behind quite a bit. I'm gonna see if she can pick up though, because Morgana's wave clear doesn't really improve until about level 4 or 5.
The one consolation for INF Taco's team is that Bazan Josh has the Kleptomancy, so he's got a little bit of extra gold in his pocket. They've actually got like a 500 gold lead, but I mean, a lot of that is built in the first blood.
So, Cloud Dragon popping up on the Tristana, jumping in on the Soraka, taking a lot of damage. The bubble lands onto the Ezreal, but Soraka should be able to keep him nice and healthy. Jarvan is here for the counter. Ezreal's still taking a lot of damage. Jarvan not sure if he wants to go in. The flash goes out on the Tristana, patiently holding onto the flag and drag. The bubble does not connect, but Jarvan's still chasing down this Tristana. Tristana flashes and will be safe and gets the kill onto the Jarvan. And Ezreal and Soraka just can't do anything. Skarner is here just in case, and they will back off.
This is what I mean about the Tristana's laning phase. Like, it's supposed to be weak, but it really isn't. He almost died there, and he was playing, like, insanely aggressive. And he still manages to live.
We'll just back off, just taking a little bit of a trade, both evenly. Soraka taking a lot of damage, though. Or really low, not taking any damage at all.
Oh no, look at that!
Gets the kill after a while, but the exhaust was so painful.
I don't know why they tried that. I don't think they had any health. Oh, that's a disaster.
Tristana unfortunately did not land the bomb on the Soraka, and just kept attacking the Soraka while exhausted. The heal kept her healthy enough. Great play by Bazin Josh and Azure Candy. And
I'm sure they would have liked to have those kills on Ezreal, but still. Wow, I mean, yeah, Tristana's going to have a bad laning phase if you jump and tower dive somebody with 10 HP. Holy cow. Oh, disaster for IRS, but we'll see how they can do.
Takes a turret shot, though, so equals it out. The Orange seems to be getting the bad end of a lot of these trades, but because Jax is being so aggressive that Ornn is just able to sometimes just get a tower shot or get a jungler to come help, and is often equating this lead. So, Cloud Dragon, do you think any of these teams are going to be looking forward to that?
Looking forward to the Cloud Drake, you mean? Yes. Sorry, I was lagging for a second there. I definitely think either of them would like to have it. I think the Skarner would like to have the Cloud Drake, actually, because he's got the Predator. Jarvan doesn't have that, so I mean, Skarner, he's going to have a little bit of extra with the Nami speed up as well. Like, they've got some inbuilt mobility into their kits that I'm sure they wouldn't mind having a little bit of extra chase down potential there. I don't know, I would definitely lean towards this being something that's better for IRS, but I don't know. Cloud Drake overall, there's all the memes about it. I still feel like it's just not that impactful, except in some very specific situations, but I think I lean towards it being a little bit more useful for IRS.
Jax is going in on the Ornn, but Jarvan is here for the assist. Ornn is being taken very low. Q to the minion and flash out. Jarvan going in, the ult manages to land, and it will kill the Jax. Skarner looking like he wants to stay, but being chased away from the Jarvan, having second thoughts. And that will be a kill for Jarvan on the side of Obama Loving. Ahri ulting in though, lands the charm on the Morgana, and the ignite will go down. Autos will be enough. The flash from Morgana, not sure what it was for, but will go down. The Jarvan is here. Doesn't have ult, but lands the autos for that red buff slow. It'll be difficult for Ahri to get away here. The flash in
She's
from the
got no ult.
And Ahri will go down. Nami being taken very low. Jarvan maybe looking for something bot lane. Or maybe just looking to get away from Skarner.
Went for the patented gank top, run right mid, run right bot pattern.
Clever ruse. Jax going in on the Ornn. The stun manages to land, taking a lot of damage, but dealing a lot more. Ornn is forced to run away, and once again gets away with just a sliver of health.
And Sir Wolf knowing what he can do there, if I was playing, I would not have gone in on that. It looked like the Ornn was really healthy, and he's got the shield from his W, but like the Jax was going to get the kill there if he didn't run away.
Jax is able to out-damage Ornn in a lot of scenarios, despite being in a worse situation himself, but just doesn't have quite enough damage yet to really get the kill. The ganks have not been helping him at all when he's died twice, and Ornn's got 2 assists, so that's got to be a pretty decent part of it, but Ornn's always just able to get away with a sliver of health. That may change when he gets Triforce. Tristana going in onto the Soraka, doing a lot of damage. W's right back in, the ult lands, and does not have enough mana to ult W back out. Nami taking a lot of damage, taking a tower shot too. Doesn't know that she's sitting on a ward. Ezreal should be able to pick this up with the E, and he's in range. The Q lands, just one more, and the ult thrown down, but does not connect. Nami will get away with just a sliver of health.
The Irish bot lane is playing so aggressive. I mean, they got the kill onto Tristana, but they just give over onto Tristana. They got the kill on Soraka.
Jax just looking for a little bit of harass onto the Ornn. Plenty of damage, I would say. Just chasing him out of the lane. Taking a lot of damage. Ornn's just trying to knock him up. May have overstepped too much with that, and the Jax gets the kill. Finally. I'm sure he's really happy to see that.
You can see Sir Wolf is doing a great job of staying right on top of the Ornn, so that when he uses that the Forge, Call of the Forge God, like he can't do anything with it because Jax will just run around behind him, so he can't redirect it to him. Like that all has been useless in all these fights, and normally that's a huge part of what Ornn can do, and hasn't been able to use it at all. So a good job for Sir Wolf on the Jax, knowing how to play around that.
Definitely showing great knowledge on the Jax versus the Ornn matchup. Jarvan is looking top. This could be bad if Jax keeps overstaying, though. Jarvan is looking for his in. Jax doesn't care, though. He's saying, bring it on.
Yeah, I think Zakam would have died if he went in on that.
Definitely, and I don't believe Ornn could have caught up in order to do anything. And Jax will just go back, possibly looking for that Triforce, which will be a huge jump in damage. Now, because he didn't have Sheen before. Can't quite afford all of Triforce, but has that Sheen, which is still a huge, huge spike for him. So Ornn's got to be extra careful from now on. And with the Cloud Dragon going down, the next dragon will be another Cloud Dragon. Is definitely not a highlight dragon, I don't think, but really good for Skarner, as you said.
Yeah, I mean, not something they're probably going to have a huge team fight over, but we'll see who picks it up.
Ornn finally flashes. The Skarner ult goes down. Ornn is looking to run away, but between Jax and Skarner, can he get out? The stun manages to land. He has no flash to get over this wall. He knocks up both Jax and Skarner, but Jax is just staying right on his heels. He's got no out, but the Black Shield will keep the stun from landing, but he will still fall. Jarvan coming up. Skarner being taken very low. The knockup lands on both of them. The Skarner will die, and the Jax will die to the ult and ignite combo. Ahri looking to redeem her fallen brethren.
Walked right into it. Oh my god.
The stopwatch manages to land, but the ult will kill the Morgana. Ahri may be looking for something more here. Nami taking a lot of damage. Getting just a little bit too aggressive and falls down to the Ezreal. The exhaust goes down on Tristana. She most likely can't really win this. Ezreal just landing that Mystic Shot, forced to flash away, but the E, along with the Mystic Shot, will pick up the kill. A double kill for the Ezreal and Soraka combo.
Didn't even have to use any summoners besides exhaust. Like, again, the Iris bot lane is playing crazy aggressive. Like, I talked about how Tristana's laning phase isn't as bad as some people hype it up to be, but they're playing like this is like, I don't know, a Draven or something that they think they can just win every single fight, and just benefiting from the over-aggressiveness of their opponents are the Obama-loving Libtar's bot lane.
Skarner catching out Jarvan just a little bit, dealing plenty of damage. The smite goes down, but no ult to pick him away from that tower. And I'm not quite sure if exhaust was up for Nami for that fight. Could have changed everything if she had exhausted Ezreal a lot sooner. Possibly could have given Tristana enough time to kill the Soraka. But as you said, she's getting very aggressive. The Ornn ult goes down. The knockup hits Ahri. The binding lands as well, and this will be most certainly a kill, and it is for the Morgana.
They just played that perfectly. I mean, I think Sir Wolf and Radboy, when they ganked the Ornn up top, they missed everything. They did, and he bought so much time for Taco and Zakam to get up there and get those kills. That could have been a perfect fight for the side of Obama-loving Libtards, but they hung around and let Dragon Killer pick up the kill as well, which made it kind of still in their favor. I mean, they've built about a 1k gold lead, but definitely, I think Radboy on the Skarner, he's got to keep ganking. I think that last one or two ganks he's been trying, on the right track, they just got to execute those well, because right now, Zakam has been dominating the map a lot more. 5-1-1 on that Jarvan.
Agreed. So we see plenty of plays coming out of the Jax. In fact, he's going right back in on that Ornn, just trying to stay behind him. But then the Jarvan's here, forced to flash away from the Dragon Flag. Flag and drag. And unfortunately for him, Jarvan had his ult and gets another kill. This is a 6-1-1 Jarvan. Tristana going in once again on that Soraka. The Skarner flash ult on the Ezreal doesn't quite get him yet. The bubble misses, and they'll just walk away.
I think that was the right choice for the Skarner, but I don't think that the bot lane of IRS was paying attention. They didn't use a lot of their stuff when the Skarner all came out. I think they might have been able to kill Josh if they all focused on him, but a little bit of a hesitation, rather.
Definitely gotta agree, but the first tower will go down for the Ornn and Jarvan combo. Nami taking a lot of harass, just trying to stay in that bush. It's just not working out too well for her. Ezreal's got that Triforce. They've got to be careful. This is a huge damage buff for the Ezreal. And you know, it's funny that we've been talking about how strong Jax is doing against this Ornn, when he is 1-4. His score definitely doesn't tell the tale of how well he's been doing at the top lane.
Yeah, I mean, he's got the 19 CS advantage, but he lost his tower already. I don't know, I think he's playing it well, and like, as silly as it sounds, this is one of those things where you say, in all chat, need a tent, question mark. Like, Zakam has been helping out the Oran so much, and they both played most of those fights pretty well. I think Sir Wolf is doing about the best that he can, but the fact is he's playing to win the lane, and when you're playing to win the lane, and the enemy jungler is supporting their laner a lot more than yours is, if you're playing aggressively, you're going to get punished sometimes.
Jarvan lands the ult on the Ahri. She doesn't have an ult to get out and will die. Unfortunate for her. Zakam has been everywhere. I gotta agree. He's been doing a lot.
I'm not sure how much they're keeping track of the Ahri ultimate, but his ganks have been perfectly on time against Dragon Killer there. She's never had a chance to get out.
He's been bot, I believe, once, and not too much happening there, but has been top a lot and has been mid a decent amount. So definitely a huge playmaker for their team here. And with the 7-1-1 record, you definitely can't blame him if he wants to go full AD/lethality. Jax looking like he wants to go in on the Ornn, doesn't quite land the stun. And both are being taken to half health, but Jax does have more damage here. The Ornn ult comes out and the knockup lands. And the knockup will get the final part of the kill. So close for Jax, sitting there with 1 health at some point. Skarner looked like he wants to ult that Ezreal. Ezreal goes down to the Tristana regardless. Tristana gets a double kill. Skarner finally ulting that Jarvan. Tristana being taken very low, but taken out of the Nami bubble and flashing out. They're tower diving the Jarvan. Tristana taken very low from the Jarvan auto and goes down, but takes Jarvan with her. That'll be an unofficial triple kill for the Tristana. But man,
they should have just taken a 2 for 0 there. I think the Zakam was just going to run away. I know Radboy still had Impale and probably wanted to use it, but I think they just, once again, Crown just falls because they're tower diving and playing very aggressively. Still a 3 for 1 overall. I think they'll be pretty happy with it.
I think it's definitely more of, I believe Crown shouldn't have been so stingy with his flash. Like, you can't be Ornn levels of stingy with your flashes. You gotta be willing to flash that knockup, because this is a full AD Jarvan here. Actually, maybe not so much more now, because he's looking like he wants a dead man's plate, but he's got a lot of AD. He's got the AD from the Black Cleaver and the Warrior enchantment. He's not a weak champion at all, and he was 7-2 or 7-1 at the time, so you can't underestimate his damage too much. Ornn and Morgana sitting on a ward.
Yeah, thus far, I think the Obama-loving libtards have been doing a better job of chaining their CC in some of these ganks. Oh, here we go.
Ahri taking a little bit of damage from Ornn. Ornn flashing in. Ahri forced to burn her ult away. The binding does not land. The charm does. And the Ornn ult is thrown down. The Morgana ult thrown. The Ahri ult does not get her away.
They seem to want to take that fight. I don't know why.
Skarner being chased by Zakam, or Jax now. Jax taking a lot of damage. This Jarvan ults the Skarner. The binding does land and the Skarner goes down. A ton of damage. Oh, but looks like Tristana also wants to be aggressive. The ult and the bomb will be enough to finish off the Soraka. Ezreal taking a lot of damage. The Nami ult going in doesn't quite connect. Looks like they still wanted to go for that, but that last Mystic shot will force Tristana away.
Yeah, I mean, they're playing so aggressively. They've gotten to the point, Tristana has an IE and a static shift. She's really starting to hurt. Like, they're at the point where the bot lane of the IRS can do stuff like that, and it's going to work a lot of the time. Like, this is getting to be a tough situation for the bot lane of the Obama-loving libtards. Like, Tristana is getting really strong, and she's only going to get stronger with the next item or two.
But both sides definitely have their vices. Jarvan for the side of the Obama-loving, and Tristana, along with a little bit of the Jax, I think. I still want to give the fact that Jax is doing a lot. The Ahri flash and the charm, but does not connect. But we got the Tristana and a little bit of the Jax there for the IRS. Both sides have got their fed carries. Gonna see which side can pull this off.
Yeah, I mean, the Jax is 1-5-2, but it does seem like in most of these fights he does really well. With the Counter-Strike, that actually helps a lot in some of those trades. Basically, the Auron has just been winning purely off of his ability use, which can go right through the Counter-Strike. So...
Auron does manage to teleport top lane to prevent Jax from getting that tower. I don't know what they're doing near the dragon. Jax going in, doing a little bit of damage, but the binding had landed on Ahri, and she will get annihilated by the Ezreal. Auron ult does go down, but it's not fast enough. The Jax gets the solo kill. And it looks like Obama Loving will be pushing mid, with Jarvan being sent top to stop the Jax. The IRS are here, though. The binding lands on Skarner. The Nami ult lands on the Ezreal. But Nami's getting a little bit too aggressive and gets annihilated by the Jarvan. Tristana stuck there in the Jarvan ult and goes down. Skarner is trapped and is in a 1v4. There is no escape for him, and Ezreal will pick up that kill.
I think the Raptors got that last hit on Trish.
And stuns Ezreal. Does not quite get the kill. The Soraka ult is enough along with the Ezreal. Just natural healing, I guess. I thought you used heal, but I guess not. But man, Soraka really kept her ADC alive there.
Yeah, I think between Soraka and Morgana, it's going to be really hard to kill the Zan Josh in these fights. He's also got the Arcane Shift, and now he's building Lifesteal. Like, this guy's going to have insane amounts of sustain. He's going to have a really easy time surviving in most of these fights if he plays them well. I mean, Crown's Tristana is getting pretty strong. I think they're at a point where, like I said, she's getting to that 3-ish items. She's got, like, 2 different halves of an item right now, where this is going to be pretty strong, but they've got to play these fights well. Like, they need the Skarner and the Jax in front, and this isn't a tanky Jax either. So Skarner's really their only tank when they're up against, like, an Auron and a Jarvan and that big front line, and a lot of, like, support for the Ezreal. I think these team fights are a little bit easier to play for the side of the Obama-loving libtards right now. I mean, certainly Tristana will continue to be a threat as they get later in the game, though.
Yeah, there definitely is a difference between easier and possible. So, got to keep that in mind as well. Ahri looking like she may be caught up by Auron, has to ult away. Skarner and the crew looking for that Auron. The Auron ult comes down. Tristana is taking a lot of damage. She's in a lot of trouble and will get annihilated by the Ezreal. Nami manages to throw down that heal, but the flash from the Ezreal will finish the kill. Jarvan flash and flag and drag will get the Ahri and the ult. Ezreal coming in to finish off the kill. Jarvan taking a lot of tower damage, but will die. Ezreal managing to get the quadra kill, looking for that Jax for the Penta, possibly.
This could be it. Here's the Penta.
Jax being ignited. Ezreal coming in for the clean kill.
Oh!
Morgana will get the final hit. And there we go.
FF.
This is the person
man.
who had taken the Penta.
Yeah, this is where the Ezreal says IAFK.
But a great fight nonetheless for Obama-loving libtards. In the end, Tristana getting caught and taking a lot of damage, and it pulling through.
Yeah, I mean, Crown playing crazy aggressively this whole game is worse some of the time, but I think they're getting a point now where this gold lead is about 6.5k. It's certainly, like, not impossible for them to come back. They could certainly do it, but they've got to play differently. Like, they've got to play these fights in a more coordinated fashion. We've seen even in these ganks, they're not chaining their CC properly. They're getting caught, like Crown's Persona is caught out of position. They've got to be able to play these fights in a more organized way and a more straightforward way. They need everybody there. They need to group up. They need Skarner and Jax in the front line. They need to be able to play these fights where Tristana can just do what Tristana does, which is hang back, fire away, and then jump in at the right opportunity. They can't be getting caught like that.
He manages to land a charm onto the Jarvan, but Jarvan perhaps going a little bit too aggressive. Everyone being taken low on the side of IRS. Jarvan taking a final charm and dies to the Skarner. Jax going in for that Auron. Can't find too much more though. Binding lands on Skarner and the knockout lands too. The Nami bubble lands on Ornn as a return. Jax going in on the Ezreal, but he will cleanse it. The whole fight's turning into a chaotic place. Morgana manages to use the Zanyas to flash in from the Chari. Charm misses though. Jax stuck under the tower and will die to the Morgana binding. Ezreal becoming godlike, becoming another carry alongside Jarvan that will make this game much harder for IRS. Ahri taking a lot of damage, unable to dodge those Mystic shots, and will die to the Ezreal. Skarner looked like he wanted to try to help, but just ended up handing over another free kill.
Just delaying the inevitable with that Zhonya's.
Unfortunately. And it looks like Obama-loving libtards will be heading for the Baron, and I don't think there's anything the IRS can do about it.
No, they don't have some kind of long-range ult to steal, and they certainly don't have the Skarner or the Smite to be able to steal it. I think they just got to give it away.
Sometimes you can survey everybody, find out what everyone's saying, but you just can't do anything because of the laws. And I think this is one of those moments the Baron goes over to the Obama-loving libtards. The difference is now an 8k gold difference.
There's definitely some like glimmers of hope. I mean, the Tristana is really strong right now, but they've got to be able to play these fights well. They played that one a little bit better, or rather, I think it was a lot of misplays all around, a lot of flashes, missed skill shots, that kind of thing being thrown around. I think the Jax as well, like if they can get a split push online, something like that, but I think overall they just got to play these in a more organized way. It seems like the whole of the Obama-loving libtards, they're really on the same page in most of these fights. Like, people are there to protect the Ezreal if he's in trouble. The Jarvan is there. He's never diving in alone. He always has backup. They're always playing these fights where they seem to be working together, and I think that's why they're winning. And now they've got such a lead off of doing that, that I think they've got a pretty good path towards taking down the enemy Nexus.
The Skarner flash and ults on the Morgana. She looks like she's going to be certainly dead. The Ornn ult thrown down. The Zhonya's keeps her alive for a little bit longer. The Morgana ult manages to land, but doesn't stun anybody. The Ezreal will pick up the Nami along with the Tristana for Ornn. Jax going in on that Ezreal, but can't quite find anything and will be killed in the end. Ahri just unable to get anything either. This looks like a clean team fight for the Obama-loving libtards. Skarner just forced away because he's too low. And that'll be a 4-for-0 exchange.
Yeah, they didn't even use the Soraka ult for that one. Like, they're using the Jax, they're using the Ahri, they're trying to it's kind of like a pick comp. Like, they're trying to get, you know, Ezreal, take down the Ezreal, right, is like the key. Jarvan doing so much damage, though. He's a threat, too.
Definitely a reasonable threat. They could easily end here. The timers aren't too long, but looks like they're just going to take the safer path, just going to back off a little bit.
Yeah, there's a Mountain Drake there. I mean, they could certainly pick up the Mountain Drake and then look to get another turret or two. I mean, 10k gold lead, they got to be feeling really good, but it's not totally impossible. I mean, they don't want to be knocked out. It's the best of one. No harm playing it, kind of safe, I suppose.
About a 9k gold difference. Still not within the 15k gold realm of this is just 99% likely to be over. But that will be the last dragon of the game. The first one for Obama-loving libtards, actually. The next dragon to pop up will be the Elder Dragon. And their one shining light, I believe, as you said earlier, is Tristana. Jax just does not have enough kills / gold in order to really get on this Ezreal efficiently and kill him. He does plenty of damage, but Ezreal's ahead enough to survive the damage, which is, I think, the biggest problem for the IRS.
Yeah, they're just blowing everything to take down Bazan Josh, and the Morgana is there, the Soraka is there. Nobody's getting to him. He's not even really coming that close to dying. Like, his summoners are up most of the time. I think that's the problem, and it's the comp that they have right now for the side of the IRS. They have a Skarner, a Jax, and an Ahri. It looks like they want to run a pick comp, but they just have no chance of picking off the Ezreal, and that's really the only target. So I don't know what they do. Like they have the Tristana, so maybe they can team fight with the Triss, but it's just not going to be as good as something like a Morgana and an Ornn that can just run in. And another problem is they're the ones getting engaged upon. Like, Taco is starting these fights with bindings, or somebody's getting caught out all the time, and that's how the fights are starting. That's not at all how the IRS team comp wants to operate. They got to find the fight, and they got to start it if they want to win.
Going in on the Skarner, and managed to pick off the kill. Ornn getting it. Very Very clutch pickoff there.
I think that's been the story of the game. It's just the pick comp is getting picked off. That's been what's happening.
And knocks up both Ahri and Nami. Jarvan looking like he wants that Tristana, but will go in on Ahri instead, but manages to get picked off. Jax tries to go in for the Ezreal, but gets killed immediately. Ahri is ignited and Morgana ulted. There should be no saving her, and she does die. Tristana, being the only one left alive, is forced to fight a 5-man. This is most certainly not going to end well for them. The Jarvan going in with the flag drag doesn't land the knockup, but they're doing a lot of damage anyways, and the Tristana dies. Skarner is up, but I don't think there's anything he can do to stop this. He does die in the end, and the victory will go over. Will go over to the Obama-loving libtards. Congratulations.
Yeah, I mean, I think overall they just played really organized, like a clean game overall from the side of the Loving Libtards. Like, some slip-ups, you might say. I think that Crowns or Wolf both played really well. Like, shout out to them in particular. But I think overall just playing these fights really well and in an organized way and keeping the Ezreal alive 17-1-10. I think a testament to Zanjosh himself, but also his team playing around him too. Like, they played that comp really well. I think one of the problems with the Ezreal is it can be tough to cut through a lot of tanks, like something like that, if you have another team fight comp on the enemy team, but that's not what the IRS brought to the table. They brought a lot of squishy targets, and they brought a lot of CC in the form of the Aura and the Jarvan, the Morgana. They were just able to do really well. Shout out to Azure Candy as well. I think I noticed throughout the game a lot of clutch silences too. That Soraka silence can be actually really tough. If you, for example, do a Cataclysm with a Jarvan that put that silence in the middle, that's like absolutely hopeless to get out of.
And the Soraka was doing plenty of great silences to keep Jax at bay and just keep him from being unable to stun or use the Counter-Strike on time. Just, it does not allow you to finish the Counter-Strike so you can stun people. So you're forced to hold on to it longer, and I saw that plenty of times. Jax's initiations onto the Ezreal was just ruined by that and allowed him to time out his Mercurial Scimitar properly. But, so who would you believe is the MVP here?
It's a tough one. I think that Bazan Josh looked really good. I mean, you just look at his stat line, like, it's incredible, but my personal MVP is actually Zakam, because this guy was all over the place. We talked about in the early game how both these junglers are good gankers. He was the better ganker, though. He was top lane a bunch early on. He ganked that mid lane that I talked about, Ahri having the flash, having her ultimate, having the ability to get out. He played around those cooldowns perfectly. Got a bunch of good ganks off mid lane, too, and was even coming bot as well. He was all over the map. I think overall just set up his team for success. And not even just that, he got so fed that he was able to build warrior, build damage, and then just like be a carry on his own that the enemy team had to deal with, and they couldn't deal with him. I mean, he was all over the place. I would say he's my MVP.
Good choices. I think I'm going to have to go with, for mine, I'm going to have to go with the Ezreal. I think he managed to land a lot of great Mystic shots, which are not an easy thing to do. And I'm going to have to give him also some praise for some great Mercurial Scimitar uses. It's not easy to cleanse those stuns when you need to cleanse them. Sometimes you just completely forget them, but it seemed like he always cleansed them perfectly. So great job on the side of Bazan Josh, and of course Zakam to earn MVPs, but well played overall from the team. Some great clutch Morgana bindings, managing to catch people out at crucial junctures. Soraka silence preventing Jax from being able to do anything when he dived in on the Ezreal, and great Soraka ults and heals to keep the Ezreal alive. Ezreal great Mystic shots, Zakam great ganks in order to put his team ahead. Ornn, great job at surviving. Great job at trying to keep himself alive, because there's so many times that Jax just could have easily killed him that he just barely managed to get away with his life intact.
Yeah, I think he played that pretty well. I actually still think the Conqueror is a little bit surprising. I think maybe having an Aftershock or something, giving you that bonus armor would have been better, but I'm not sure. Maybe he's just trying it out. But certainly later on in the game, in those team fights, the Orin was super clutch. He played those really well, and he was like, there was nothing they could do because this was a pick comp up against a massive tank with tons of CC, and he was playing well too. I think that he was really crucial in a lot of those later team fights once they got out of laning phase too.
Well, regardless, great job overall to both sides, and good game. We will see them return tomorrow, so no worries about them being out of it permanently. So let me know, guys, if wait, hold on. All right, so let me know, guys, if the mic levels are appropriate. I know that I was a bit too loud and Vest was just a little bit too quiet in some instances. So just let me know if the mic levels are... Vest needs to be turned way down. Got it. We need to silence him permanently.
Get my naysaying out of here.
All right, Vest has been turned down. Again, let me know if there's any... Like, if someone's way too loud or someone's way too quiet, it'd be perfect to get the levels adjusted because I haven't used this profile at all. I created it today for this stream, so all the levels aren't exactly perfect. But if you are just joining us now, or if you were previously in a previous match and want to see what's going on, this is Party Brawl 6 and the winner's bracket. We are in round 3, the finals. Obama-loving libtards versus the Becky's Babes. We've seen both of these teams in action. Becky's Babes versus those darn Vikings, picking quite the weird decisions with an Aurelia mid and no AP top lane, but managed to pull it off with some great plays from the Aurelia, from the Fiora, and from the... I am completely spacing out. From the Jax jungle. No real shining light from the bottom lane, but definitely some strong play overall from the Becky's Babes. And then we've got the team that we just saw, Obama-loving libtards, pulling out quite a close win with Zakam really being a powerhouse in the jungle, along with Ezreal staying nice and safe, or Bezen Josh on the Ezreal rather, playing nice and safe until he was able to just pop off. But now we are in Champion Select, so let's get right down to it.
This should be a fun one. I'm curious how these teams will build. I don't think Becky's Babes can rely on something like a Fiora or an Aurelia picking that and just saying, let's play crazy aggro, let's just win all of our lanes. Because I think the Obama-loving libtards, they have pretty skilled laners that have been able to absorb pressure. I think they're going to have to pick something more map-focused, something more cohesive, I suppose. I don't know that they can rely on individual skill, but maybe they'll give it a go. We'll see.
So for the first bans, we've got Kled and Jarvan thrown out against Obama-loving, and the Fiora's banned away from Soongale, along with the Echo from Kite. Echo, a personal favorite of Kite. I believe he's in like the top 20 in North America in terms of either mastery points or lull skill. I'm not sure quite what website was used. But then there goes his patented Aurelia mid, something he's been playing for years. Possibly.
They ban away the Fiora and the Aurelia, so no double split push carry comp this time around.
And the Janna's banned from Azure Candy. I believe Janna is one of Azure Candy's favorite champions, along with Soraka. But then we've got the Sir Cave lock-in Warwick. He does not want that going away this time around. He wants his Warwick, and he's getting it. And then a Cho'Gath picked for abusive Uncle Kled. I believe this is quite an interesting choice. I don't think it's a popular pick, but I don't know about LCS trends. So what do you think about this Cho'Gath pick? along with the possible Gnar, so it could actually be just a... Oh, no. It is looking to be a Cho'Gath top, so what do you think?
If it was the Gnar, I'd be very confused. Cho'Gath is pretty good. He's played a lot. I feel like he's actually more of an EU LCS pick than in the NA. But I think usually what Cho'Gath is one of those laners you pick when you just want to... You don't want your top lane to lose. You want him to just hang out, be Cho'Gath, feast occasionally, walk around, get really big, and then show up later in the game. I think it's sort of a pick of... maybe like I think against a team that just played a Fiora top lane, they got crazy fed. It's really smart because you're picking something that's like, oh, we should be okay in lane phase. Cho'Gath will be fine. It sustains pretty well. Should be okay. I think it's a safe, big, tanky pick on the top lane. Not too much of a surprise after him already playing the Ornn. Seems right up his alley.
Ignore the loud clash, but yeah. And then we've got the Yasuo locked in and the Vladimir. It seems like that may be a Vladimir mid and the Yasuo top lane. I believe we've seen Soongale pick Yasuo in the past, and we've definitely seen Kite play Vladimir in the past, so wouldn't shock me too much, but I could also see the other way around. And then we've got the Jace locked in, probably for Inf Taco.
Right.
Interesting decision, but they've got the AP Cho'Gath up in the top lane, so it's not like they're lacking any AP choices. But what do you think about the Jace pick?
That's very interesting. I'm not sure if this is going to be Yasuo top or Vladimir top. If I remember correctly, Yasuo is something that Kite played a bit. I can't remember if he played the Vladimir as well. I believe Vladimir was nerfed somewhat, or perhaps it was item nerfs that kind of drove him out of the top lane meta, but we'll have to see. As far as the Jace pick, I'm always leery about the Jace pick ever since way back, Worlds 2016, rather, where we had the... no, 2017, I think it was, where the infamous NA Jace that would dominate scrims, supposedly, and then just be terrible on stage. Jace is something where I feel like if you win lane, he can be really good, but it seems like a lot of the time with the Jace, like, you're just not very useful in teamfights or later in the game. So it's a confident pick, I think, because it says, I want to win lane. So assuming it's a Jace mid, not a Cho'Gath mid.
We can only assume at this point, as the final bans have been thrown down. Kate and Lulu taken away from Becky's Babes, but Ezreal and Soraka, the combo that they used last time, taken away from Obama Loving. And the Nami is picked once again for Azure Candy, I believe another champion that she is well familiar with. And then the Twitch is locked in for Rich Me.
Strike 9, perhaps?
Stretch 9. Let's go with Stretch 9.
Someone in Twitch chat is going to just jump out here in all caps. Not how you say it!
Someone in Twitch chat, please do that.
Enlighten us, please, actually.
And then we've got the Lux picked for Becky, and then the Tristana locked in for Bez and Josh. Actually, completely flumped in my brain. It was the Ezreal versus the Nami, not Ezreal and Nami.
Yeah, I think Nami's always a strong laner, and I think even though Nami did lose in that previous game, like, Nami's really good and pretty good into a lot of champions. I actually really like it into the Lux in particular because you can speed up the Tristana, and that makes it a little bit easier to dodge. You can also bubble the Twitch during his ult or Lux during her ult, and she's also got the wave for engage or disengage. I think Nami's a pretty good, like, blind pick. I know this wasn't quite a blind pick Nami, but she's pretty good in a lot of situations, and assuming Azure Candy is comfortable on the champion too, it's a pretty smart pick, and being able to empower Tristana's auto attacks is going to make her even more terrifying when she gets a couple of items.
So do you believe that will be enough to overpower the Lux pick potential and then the high damage Twitch?
I would say, once again, Twitch is going to be strong in the late game too, but I think the Lux in particular, like, Becky and... I'm going to say Strike 9, but I'm not sure. Becky and Strike 9, I think that they have to get an advantage early. They have to get this Lux to get a couple of kills, get some gold, because assuming she goes full AP, she's going to need to get a lot of gold to power that build, and then be able to roam and maybe affect mid lane, help out Kite, something like that, or even roam top. Be able to roam around with Sir Cave in the jungle as well. I think that's what they have to do, because late game, if Azure Candy builds Ardent Sensor, Tristana has a couple of items, that's going to be unstoppable. On the other hand, Becky, maybe, I'm not really familiar how she usually builds Lux, but if she goes for a more supportive build and she builds an Ardent Sensor herself, it's going to be a pretty even matchup. But in lane, I actually feel like the Tristana and the Nami have an advantage, especially early on, even though the Tristana is going to scale well too. I think probably what I'm watching is, can Becky like get a lot of clutch bindings and like make that Lux support pick really impactful? Because a Lux support that doesn't get a bunch of kills in lane doesn't have a huge impact early on in the game. I think later in the game won't be as relevant.
I see. So I know you don't have too much insight into the mid lanes. Do know that Vladimir against Jace, it all depends on how that Jace lands his empowered Qs. With that gate and his Q, it's just gonna hurt like a truck. But I don't believe it'll be enough. I don't believe it'll be enough to overcome the Vladimir sustain, because the pool from Vladimir is just so easy to disengage from anything that Jace has to engage on them. So I believe Vladimir won this matchup. But how do you feel about Zac and Warwick? Because they're both heavily like ganking, influencing junglers. Where do you expect them to be?
I know Zakam's a great jungler. He was my MVP last year, but I think Sir K from the Warwick is going to feel really...
Last year?
Why did I say last game?
Okay.
Yes, last season. Yeah, I think Warwick from Sir Cave, I think he's going to be feeling really good early on, because I've played against Zax. You can invade them. You can take away camps from them pretty easily early on. It will depend a little bit on how the lanes go, like whose mid laners will be able to support and help them if they go and invade. But I would definitely give the edge over to the Warwick early on. But Zac can be like a big terror in team fights and pretty good at ganking with the slingshot too. So knowing Zakam, I think that he's gonna have to like weather the storm, weather that early game Warwick storm, and try to get some of his laners ahead with the ganks. Because I think early on, Sir K's Warwick could be really nasty. They first picked that Warwick; he really wanted it, so I think he's feeling confident. He's gonna do really well early game.
Just gonna have to see. And any opinions on the Yasuo Cho'Gath lineup?
It's hard to say. I think have to be a little bit careful on the Cho'Gath, but if I were the Yasuo, I would be feeling like this is kind of lame. Like, I'm not sure I can do much. I think probably what Soongale will have to do is wait on Sir K's Warwick to come up there. If they get a good gank 2v1, they can take down the Cho'Gath. But as long as Kled plays pretty careful on the Cho'Gath and plays pretty far back, and we keep some wards up there, or even has a cam to back him up, he should be okay. I don't know that the Yasuo will be able to get solo kills, but Soongale did look really good on the Fiora. If he's good enough on the Yasuo, maybe he'll be able to get some solo kills, but I would say this is once again like a case of waiting on the jungler to kind of help him out.
I'm just gonna have to see what he can do. He's got that Guardian. That's quite an interesting keystone. It's not what I would have expected, but lo and behold, there it is.
The Conqueror on Yasuo, you mean?
Or, yeah, Conqueror. What did I say?
Guardian.
Oh, pretend I said Conqueror. And pretend I'm not professional. Because I am professional.
It seems to be the new standard. Most people seem to agree that it's really good on Yasuo. It's still pretty new. I mean, I think Press the Attack was the old standard, or even a couple of Fleet Footworks. I'm not sure. But yeah, I think the Conqueror is supposed to be really good, and it's still a pretty new rune, but overall, I think it's supposed to be like pretty good on certain champions. And I think Yasuo, I'm not a Yasuo main or anything, but from what I've seen, Yasuo is considered to be one of those.
Well, we're just going to have to see how well he does. If you are once again just joining us, why didn't you tune in earlier? This is Party Brawl number 6. This is the final. We are viewing Becky's Babes on the blue side versus the Obama-loving libtards on the red side. And the winner of this will proceed to go into the grand final and will not have to make any appearances on Saturday. The loser of this will go on to face the final match in the losers bracket in order to get back into it and go to the grand final. So definitely an important game here, because or for both teams, because if you lose this, it's not too bad. You got another chance to fight in the losers bracket to get back in here. But if you win this, you got a lot of buffer. You can lose up to 2 more games in the grand final without it being completely over. Because if the team that advances from the winners bracket loses, then they have to play another best of 3, because then that will be technically their first game or series loss. So they get that nice little leeway. But we've got some traditional jungle starts here. No crazy invades as the lanes are beginning. Maybe looking for top or mid to see if there's any early aggressive ganks coming out of the Zac and the Warwick, as they'll be finishing their jungle paths somewhere near there.
Yeah, if I was a Cam, I'd honestly be looking bot at some point. Like, he might want to wait till 6 for that, I'm not sure. But Twitch and Lux, both very immobile. Really, the only chance of escape is something like a really good binding on the Zac or the Tristana when she jumps in. That seems like a really gankable lane for them, I would say. And
Lux
if they
taking
can
a lot of damage.
Oh, here we go.
The W, and the Tristana will get the first blood. That level 2 proc was very strong for them. Twitch taking a lot of harass, but great first blood by Obama Loving.
They didn't even need the gank. They just get the kill.
Well, maybe they just don't want to worry about needing to be picked up by Zakam early on.
Makes his job so much easier. I know as a jungler, if all your lanes just win, I mean, you're the happiest guy on the planet.
But Warwick looking top lane, this is going to be warded out, but I don't believe that he saw Warwick.
Cho'Gath is pretty far up. This could be tough.
Oh, but he will know that Warwick's coming in now. Zac's coming in to help. And it looks like Zac's just trying to be careful not to be seen. Vlad is also here. Cho'Gath's in a 1v3. And does manage to get away. The Rupture doesn't quite land, but they just cannot chase too far for it. Tristana taking a lot of damage from that binding landing. No bubble to return the damage with.
They should be pretty happy with that. I mean, without the flash, so Cho'Gath has got to be really careful. Either he plays aggressively and he'll probably die from a return gank, or he has to play really conservative against the Yasuo. And Soongale happy to play that Yasuo and just scale up a little bit.
Definitely not bad passing at all from the Cho'Gath. You gotta... Oh man, Twitch is engaged on the bubble landed, and the bomb may be enough. It's ticking, and it won't be. So close. And he will get away with 20 health or so.
Did not have the heal available, but did get out. Just barely.
But he did have to burn flash. Warwick is up here for the return gank on Cho'Gath, but Zac is here. And Cho'Gath taking very low. Flash in from the Warwick, and the Yasuo manages to get the kill. The knockup tornado does not land. The flash in. Zac, not necessary, but he wanted to just be sure. Warwick's possibly going to be looking. Oh man, manages to smite the little blob. Should be able to pick up this kill and manages to do so. 2-for-1 trade up in the top lane in favor of Becky's Babes.
I think the turret shot was still going towards Yasuo, but there was a little bit like you couldn't see that it was after the flash, and Zakam flashed after him, but I don't think he needed to. I think it was the final turret shot that killed Yasuo, so I think Zakam could have lived there, but winds up falling to Sir Cave, and that Warwick having a strong early game.
Vladimir manages to dodge the bubble. Tristana's in a lot of trouble here, has to flash away, but the flash from Kite and Ignite will be enough to finish her off, even get through the heal, and that will be a kill for Vladimir.
Kite coming through with the roams, hoping to shut down that Tristana and Nabi, who were doing so well in lane, but now some more members of their team come to join the party.
Jace is pushing up mid. Twitch is looking here, possibly looking to gank. Jace won't be caught out. Warwick taken very low, though. He will try to lifesteal through. Jace throws down the Ignite and Flash, and will get the final auto in order to get the kill. Twitch is looking to chase, but can't quite find the damage. And Jace will get away with a 2v1, get a kill, and not die for it.
Taco played that perfectly, and the fear was there. He did have to flash ignite, but he gets the kill in a 1v2. Great job.
So an Infernal Dragon is up right now. Which team do you think is going to be wanting to pick this up here?
Picking up the Infernal, I mean, I think either team would be happy to have this. Certainly, I think a Jace is going to enjoy having the Infernal Tristana as well. On the other side, I don't know. I mean, having extra damage is never a bad thing for anybody. I mean, it's always something teams prioritize, but I definitely feel like this is something Red side might be looking to pick up. But I don't know. Warwick is still in that strong early game. Yeah, he died to Jace mid, but I think Warwick has like first pick and a lot of objectives early on. So Zakam is going to have to help some of his laners get some priority on that Infernal Drake and probably try to pick that up.
We'll see if they do want to prioritize that or not. It's definitely a dragon I love personally. Yasuo going in on the Cho'Gath, manages to use the ult, takes a ton of damage, but cannot quite find the kill. Oh, but Jace looking like he wants to go in onto the Vladimir. Vladimir getting plenty of healing out, but Zac is here. The Vladimir ult is thrown out. The Zac knockup will land, and the Vladimir will go down. Jace doing a ton of damage. Yasuo is pushing down that tower, though. I don't believe this is going to be the first tower just quite yet, but it'll definitely be something that can easily be gone for should a gank go the right way for Sir Cave and Soongale.
20 CS advantage there in the bot lane. Josh and Sir Candy doing a great job on the Tristan and the Nami, and Tristan's just going to get more items and get even stronger. Like, this is another case of the weakest part of the Tristana is the laning phase, and it's going great for them.
Just gonna have to see what happens next. Not too much happening right now. Bot lane pushing for the Obama loving, but
Mid and bot both doing really well for them. They should look at this Infernal Drake. There's no vision there for the side of Becky's Babes.
that is true. I wonder if my Twitch app is what's doing it. I'm gonna end my Twitch app real quick. I don't know if everyone else is hearing two sets of audio, but oh man, Yasuo is being engaged in by the Rupture and the knockup from the Zac. Cho'Gath looks like he wants more, but he doesn't.
I guess maybe they saw the Warwick, but Zakam's ult was still available. That was their chance. Soongale's going to have his flash up in just a second.
The ult is used on the minion, so no for Cho'Gath, so no kill for that. I believe he had ult. Maybe he just wanted to save it, but I believe you want to get those champion stacks as soon as possible because those are endlessly stacking.
Yeah, they played that really carefully, worried about a counter kill from Sir Cave, I suppose, but I think they could have taken down the Yasuo there.
But anyways, if anyone's still hearing two sets of audio, please let me know in the chat because if that is through my end, then I'm sorry, and I'll look into it. Got some wards over on the Infernal Dragon for Obama loving.
Yeah, I mean, you can see both those lanes, bot lane and mid lane, like I said, doing pretty well. And they're getting some good vision, like you said. You know, I mean, I think they should really go towards this Infernal Drake, especially if they spot Sir Cave somewhere. I think Sir Cave knows, though, and they're hoping to get a little bit of that vision cleared out themselves. They don't want to give that away.
Teleport used by Vladimir, trying to get right back into the action. He's got his proto belt, so he's going to be a little bit more mobile, a little bit more harder to catch. So looking like he wants something, but just can't find that kill on Cho'Gath, as he said. It's just something he's got to sit back and wait for a gank from Sir Cave.
Yeah, he's got the Glacial Shroud now, too. It's going to be really hard. Like, the Yasuo's not going to do any damage. He only has the Zeal, especially, as well. Like, he's going to have a hard time without the Warwick.
that Infernal Dragon warded, just no real gunning for it. Exactly.
Yeah, neither jungler has really shown themselves. If either one ganks mid or bot, they might run towards it, at least try to get some control in the area.
Ping's coming out on Yasuo, but this is warded out. Yasuo does know that he is coming. And the flash will be burned from Yasuo.
There they go. That's what they needed to do. See, I was surprised they didn't try something like that last time when the Yasuo's flash was not there. Maybe they thought that it was up, or they still could have tried to burn it. I'm not sure, but they do get the flash now. We'll see if they get a return gank.
They might have believed that they had the kill without the need for the ults to be used, but kind of just let the Yasuo just get away due to that.
Yeah, he does lose the flash, but does have a pretty nice CS advantage there, about 17 there in the top lane, and same deal for Vlad and Tristana as well, about equal CS leads for those two.
So plenty of hints of aggression, but we're not seeing a bloody game like we have for the past two. Kind of more controlled. 7 kills over the 12.5 minutes. So, and no CS difference whatsoever. I mean, 100, but what even is that? So pretty even.
Gold difference, you mean?
Yeah. What did I say?
CS difference? It's 100. What is 100 CS difference? I'm like, well, that'd be pretty big.
100 CS, just that's easy street. Now, 1 kill, that's massive.
I also just noticed that actually Strike 9 has the press the attack, so doesn't have fleet footwork, really no sustain there. I think that's probably part of the reason they're having such trouble with Josh and his Candy is because there's that Nani there for sustain.
Zach is here to help him out. Jace taken very low, but manages to get the kill on the Vladimir. Just did not have enough damage. Maybe if Vladimir had Ignite, but I believe he changed that out for Teleport. Tristana going in onto the Twitch. Plenty of damage going through, but just not enough. The Twitch will flash and heal away to safety. A lot of summoners burned all over the map, but only 1
Strike 9, I believe, ulting just to clear the wave or something. I'm not sure if that was a misclick.
Could have been to clear the wave, but Lux manages to land a crucial binding and lands an ult. Plenty of damage on Tristana. But Zach
Cam is there. Both junglers there.
But this is worded out. They know that Zach is here. But this information will be brought to light soon. But this still manages to get the Twitch, the flash in onto the Lux in order to get the knockup. And Tristana should be able to finish off the Lux, and she does. The Ignite is ticking, but it won't be enough. And that'll be a double kill for nothing.
Close to a counter kill, but they played that perfectly as a Cam. Just perfect execution on that gank. They get both kills, and like I was saying before, with press the attack and a Lux, no sustain for the Twitch. He's having a really rough laning phase.
It's definitely curious on why they stuck around after the Zac was caught out by the ward. Maybe they thought Warwick would be there shortly, or maybe they thought if they didn't go forward enough that they would be fine, but Zac CC is just too great. That flash really came in clutch for them.
I still think they should have their eyes on the Infernal Drake. You can see Kite clearing out vision here, even though mid and bot lane are losing for Becky's Babes. Like, I'm not really sure what exactly the Obama-loving libtards, what their plan is around that Drake, but I really think they should be prioritizing it. They've been doing so well in both those lanes. They should have control of the area.
It will massively help Jace and Tristana's damage output, the 2 lanes that are winning, so I agree that this is something that would help snowball them a lot. But maybe they just don't believe it's all that important. But Zac looking up top lane. Looks like he's going to slingshot when Yasuo gets in range. Yasuo taking a lot of damage, gets a knock up, and Cho'Gath with the kill.
Gets the feast stack too. Played perfectly. Zakam didn't have this ult, didn't need it.
A little bit of damage out on the Tristana, but looks like she will be fine. Almost landed the binding right there. Could have been a kill, actually.
So I was curious about Becky's items. Looks like she is building pretty defensively, building towards, I think, an Ardent Sensor there. I think a good choice. That'll make sure that the Twitch and her are both pretty relevant later in the game, because the Tristana definitely will be. Not having gotten an early advantage is tough to justify going full AP or something like that on the Lux. Actually, Warwick just takes that Infernal Drake that I would say they had no right to, losing both those lanes. So great job to Sir Cave on just picking that up, and Zakam being top lane, he just started it, so they get an Infernal Drake, picking up an advantage there, even with those lanes kind of struggling. They'll be happy to have it, and more so to make sure that the Obama-loving libtards do not have it.
Definitely, and the next dragon will be a mountain. Not exactly what you're hoping if you've got a high damage mid and ADC like Tristana and Jesu are going to be focusing plenty around burst. So, going to see what happens with that. But a 2,000 gold lead, not too big of a deal. Built up for Obama-loving. Zac is here, though. They do know, but Zac manages to get the double knockup and the knockup from his E. The ult manages to land, and they get a double kill for the Obama-loving libtards. And this should be the first tower of the game going over for them.
I believe there's a canceled TP there as well, so they even get that extra cooldown. Once again, Zakam coming bot, 2 immobile enemy champions there, and able to just execute the gank perfectly and get the kill again. That Tristana is getting really strong.
No canceled TP. Yasuo and Vladimir both have pretty decent cooldowns on it. And I don't believe canceling it reduces it that much anymore, does it?
It does, yeah. I believe it was Kite who canceled his TP bot. I think it refunds like a third of the cooldown, something like that.
140-second cooldown, so yeah, it does refund a third. So it should be, yeah, it should line up with Vladimir's. I remember last time I tried using it that it didn't do that. Or maybe that was just because it used it on a tower or something. Anyways, Vladimir taking plenty of punishment from this Jace. Lux looking for something here, but could not find the binding. Sir Cave also looking for something, could not find anything. No blues handed over for the mid laners. These junglers are demanding these blues stay with them. And then, of course, we've got the Tristana finally hitting her second item. Close to that third item build is where Tristana begins to finally pop up. Zac looking like he wants to go in on the Lux and the Twitch. Managed to
we've seen this before.
Doesn't land the perfect knockup, but Twitch's entire team is there. Zac's looking for the full-on engage, so Lux ult lands on 2 people. The Zac ult brings Lux and the Twitch together. But Zac is going very, very low. Tristana finally gets into the bout. Warwick has bursted down, and then the Lux finally falls. The Vladimir's the only one left alive, but can he get away with getting a kill? Zac is dropped very low, but will not. And that'll be a 5v4 for only one person.
Jungale does get the tower in the top lane, but that's a small consolation for a disastrous team fight. Zakam played that really well, flashed away when his health was low, regen with the Warmogs, then went right back in. It was perfect to have them all bottlenecked like that for Kite. Did a lot of damage on the Vladimir and did manage to take down Taco, but overall, as soon as Bazan and Josh got there with Tristana, he had a Zac and a Cho'Gath in front of him and a Nami powering him up. That's exactly how they want that team to play that fight, and perfect for them. And now they get a mid lane turret off of it as well. Big win for the side of the Obama-loving libtards.
Indeed, they've got plenty of kills all around the board too. So all these members, there's not just one person who's really strong, although Tristana is really strong. They've kind of got all pretty equal amounts of strength. Zac being that great force of engage. So there's no real weak person to pick off on the side of Obama-loving. Gotta play this really well. Gotta start getting some more kills for Becky's babes. They've got to do something along those lines.
I mean, they've got the Yasuo insurance, but that's a small consolation when you've got a Jace who's ahead and a Tristana who's super ahead. I mean, really, the entirety, every single lane for Obama-loving libtards is doing super well, and that's bad news because they have a Zac and they have a Tristana, and they have a Nami with Ardent Sensor to buff up the Tristana. That Ardent Sensor scales with level. This team is just going to get even more terrifying the longer the game goes. Really bad news for Becky's Babes.
Vladimir's looking like he may be caught out here. Zac finally goes in and gets the Lux and the Warwick. The Warwick ult does not save him. And the Twitch is getting bursted down. The Vladimir is exhausted. The pool does go down, but it shouldn't save him either. Jace is taking a lot of tower aggro, actually, and goes down. The Warwick is finally killed off by the Zac.
The great bubble.
Yasuo can't really do too much. Zac goes in on the Yasuo, but taking a lot of tower shots will not proc his passive, actually.
He is pretty tiny, though. He's like dwarfing next to the Tristana. Pretty low health.
Definitely not something you want to see. Another great team fight for Obama Loving, and unfortunate for Becky's Babes.
Yeah, I mean, Taco dived a little bit further than maybe he should have there, but they got extra kills off of it, too. Just another huge team fight win, and now they have such a big lead, 7K, that these team fights for them, they can probably just start one whenever. I mean, Zakam has been great at initiating these. Pretty much played everyone perfectly. As long as they just keep doing that, this lead is just going to continue to grow. And right now, this Mountain Drake should be easier for them, but Sir is maybe looking for a steal.
He's close enough. He's in range. They do have vision on it. The Nami bubble's thrown down, though, but he can't get in. The Cho'Gath Rupture lands, and he's silenced, but don't think they'll chase too far after that. Zac's going in on the Yasuo, doesn't manage to land the knockup on the Vladimir. Vladimir pulled out, but he's in a very terrible position. Tries to flash in order to get some distance, but Jace flashes to close it up, and then Zac picking up the kill.
6-1-10 on that Zac right now. Zakam looking, I'm not sure if it, at least just as good, if not better, than his Jarvan did last game.
So it looks like they're looking for that Baron. And Cho'Gath is starting it, but everyone else is just going for the Scuttler. Zac manages to knock up Lux, ults her closer to her team, or to his team, and manages to get that one last kill before they start doing the Baron.
That's a 2.5 item fed Tristana. You saw like one auto, did like 50% of Lux's HP bar, and now they have the feast available. No real way for Becky's Babes to contest.
They don't even see that it's going on, although they know it is. You can't really get an idea of the Baron's HP. They just decided to hand it over. Probably a smart decision, because it probably would have just ended up being theirs anyways.
They've got to find a way to stall this out. They have Twitch and Yasuo, so they have some champions that are going to be strong in the later stages of the game, but I don't know. I mean, the same can be said for the Obama-loving libtards, and they're the ones with the 10k gold lead.
Definitely got to play this one cautiously. So the next dragon that'll be popping up is an ocean dragon. So I don't know how important that is to these teams. What do you think?
Sorry, could you repeat that?
I don't know how important this ocean dragon that's coming up next will be for these teams. Do you think either one of them really would want it? Like, oh my god, we have to have this?
It's tough to say. These have been fast fights, and we're out of laning phase, so I feel like Ocean Drake is kind of irrelevant, but I suppose it's going to be a little bit better for the side of the Obama-loving libtards, just because they have that lead, and I'm not sure how many more fights we're going to have, but the threat of the engage from the Zac will probably let them siege, kind of, and Tristana is so good at taking objectives, they have the Mountain Drake too. I imagine they'll just try to kind of tighten the noose here and siege some, so I suppose having the Ocean Drake to help sustain a little bit will be nice.
Zac can't find his in on Warwick, manages to dodge the knockup. Yasuo trying to fend off this top lane push from the Cho'Gath. It's going to be tough for him. Looking like they want an engage. And Warwick does not quite find the ult onto the Tristana. And Warwick will get deleted. Twitch finds the Tristana, actually. Great ult from him. The Nami should go down. Kite also falls to the Jace. But Twitch falls to the Zac. Looks like Jace wants to chase down this Lux, but with the E, he just can't find his in. And that will be 3 deaths. 4 deaths. Great job from Zach for only Tristana.
That was the best fight Becky's Babes could have hoped for. They got the Tristana in the end, but the Warwick died before he got the kill. The damage was already done, and this Jace is still really strong. Already has the Maw and the Ghost Blade. Just a fantastic fight in the end for the Abominable Libtards once again. It was the best they could hope for Becky's Babes. Still didn't work out. Now the inhib's falling.
And there it goes. That's an open inhibitor. They still got Baron, not for too much longer, but they shouldn't have to. They should have it for a decent amount of time. Yeah, they have it for about like 30 seconds or so.
Twitch is just now picking up an IE, I think. And on the other hand, Bazan Josh has Triss 626. He has an IE, Static Shiv, a QSS, a Zeal, Zerker Greaves, and a Vamp Scepter. Massive gold lead for him right there, and he's on a great scaling ADC. He's feeling great. That last fight, Becky's Babes used everything to try to kill a Tristana. It was played a little bit. They were kind of too spread out. They weren't able to protect Bazan Josh in the end, but they still won the fight because they're just so far ahead. That gold lead now 12.7k, it looks like. You mentioned that Ocean Drake. Yeah, I imagine they'll pick it up because why not if they're in the area, but right now they're just knocking down more turrets, extending that gold lead even further.
Zach's looking for his initiation. Started the slingshot just a little bit too far away. Probably going to be looking for the next one. And ironically, he also catches it out.
And that Zach, 9, 1, and 12. He has so much gold, and that's a scaling jungler. He is feeling great, and now he wants to engage.
And he almost catches out the Twitch. Tristana not really caught, though. Zach brings the Warwick closer. Tristana taking a lot of damage and will go down to the Vladimir ult. The Warwick finally goes in on the chase. Warwick getting close to killing that Nami. And will not find it. The Cho'Gath getting very low from the Vladimir. And looks like Warwick's trying to catch him out. Cannot find the Lux binding. 4 people are still alive. 4 loving, Obama loving. Nami looks like she's going to be all certainly dead, and she is. Lux is caught out, and the Cho'Gath dropped very, very low. Vladimir.
His minions hitting the base, though. They lost the Nexus Tower.
Jace and Zach just running away, but this is such a close fight. Zach just trying to keep Warwick off. And that is another fight that Becky's Babes really needed. Great knockup from the Zach. He's trying to keep them from backing, but Twitch is already there. He's already preventing the minions from really pushing any further. Zach's being dropped very low, actually, from the Yasuo and the Warwick combined. The fear comes out, and the Zach is turned into blood form. This is certainly his death. Oh, man, but he does get out of the blobs. No chance.
Man, overall, a great fight for Becky's Babes. The previous one, they kind of lost out in the end, but that one, perfect. They take down the priority targets. They did lose the Twitch, but in the end, they win the fight. I think that it is proof that even a 10k gold lead is not so much that it's impossible to throw. Like, it still is there. They still have a huge advantage. This game is not, this isn't come back immediately, but it's exactly what Becky's Babes needed. They need to stall that out. Twitch has no items. He needs a lot of time and a lot of farm. Ocean Drake falling to the side of the Abominable Libtards, but they've got to get more of those, and definitely that was a good job from them taking advantage of a big overextension from the Abominable Libtards.
Yeah, and then Infernal Dragon is also, like, I don't want to pit too much on this, but the Infernal Dragon is helping that Twitch do his damage. It's helping Vladimir, that's helping Yasuo. These are such high damage champions that you really want something like a plus 8% AP/AD. It's not like doubling their damage or anything, but it's increasing their damage by at least 8%. It's a meaningful amount over these courses of you just need 10 more damage in order to kill somebody.
Indeed, and worth noting, Soongale has the highest farm in the game. Yasuo has a lot of items, and this is late game. Soongale's feeling pretty good.
And it looks like Obama-loving libtards are going to be looking for that Baron. Becky's Babes know that they're heading straight for it. They're not exactly in a position to catch them out, though. They're just heading for that Scuttle Crab. Zach may be looking to slingshot over. No one's really in position to do anything about it. And both teams are just trying to be very cautious about this. And the Baron will be started. Becky's Babes have no idea that this is happening. A lot of their members kind of backed off. They're finally arriving here. Twitch had to flash away from the Jace. They're still doing the Baron, though. This looks like it should be free, and it is. Sir Cave just could not get there in time. Zach looks like he's trying to engage, flashes in to get the ult off, and manages to bring the Lux and the Yasuo closer. The Twitch is doing a ton of damage to the Jace, and Soongale finally falls. Does not get the Yasuo ult off. Tristana taken very low and does not look like he has any kind of out. He's being chased by Twitch and Vladimir and will fall. And there goes the Lux on the other side by the Zac and the Cho'Gath. But Warwick is chasing here. Taking a little bit of damage, not too much. This is still a battle of the tanks against each other. Cam looking like he wants this Twitch. He's doing a lot of damage. He's able to get the knock up here.
He might be dead.
Oh no, Twitch manages to get away, but the Yasuo falls for it. Battle of the tanks once again. Warwick taken very low, and the Zac manages to get the kill. Vladimir is taken very low as well, manages to pull out. Zac is still slingshotting, and the slingshot does land, and will be another kill for the Obama-loving libtards. The only people up right now are Twitch and Lux, but these are high-damage carries that are up right now. Lux.
That was a decent fight. Becky's Babes could try to stall off of that, but they re-engaged and lost Vlad and Yasuo.
The slingshot does not quite land, but there's a lot of damage coming out of the Cho'Gath, and this looks like it should be a dead Twitch, and it is. The Ignite goes down on the Zac. The Zac ult manages to keep Lux from running away, and that's another kill. We got 15 seconds on the Warwick, 9 on the Yasuo. Can they do this? Tristana and Jace are coming down. They may be able to end the game right here.
Should be GG.
Towers falling. The Nexus is now bare open. Yasuo is trying to do what he can to stop it. Warwick is trying to damage the Zac, but Tristana's here. Everyone's here. They're just going for the Warwick for another kill, and that will be the game. The Obama-loving libtards defeat Becky's Babes. GG. What a close game.
It really was a close one. It looked like they had the tools at their disposal to stall the game out. That last team fight, the Obama-loving libtards blew everything to get the Lux and the Yasuo. Soongale was CC'd the entire time, could not maneuver in the fight. The problem is that left a Vladimir and a Twitch to free fire away in that fight. It was actually a pretty big win. They killed the Tristana, which was like basically their win condition for the fights. The thing they forgot, though, is that the Zac and the Cho'Gath were both very ahead, trying to re-engage on them, and they end up losing a bunch more members over the course of a couple of minutes just to go and try to take down that Cho'Gath and the Zac, who were both so tanky at that point that they wind up just eventually getting aced after like a really long, drawn-out, chaotic fight, and they lose the Nexus.
Looking at the damage charts, you can really even see that Tristana was such a high damage champion for a while there, but eventually just got out damage sourced by the Zac and by the Cho'Gath and the Jace overall. Those last team fights where she was constantly being focused out definitely didn't help either. Probably did maybe a couple hundred damage per one of those fights near the end of the game. Couldn't really get in there and stay safe. The Twitch did plenty of damage throughout the next several fights with the Vladimir, but unfortunately for them, just was not enough. The Zac managed to bring it in. Great job by Zakam, who is my personal MVP for this game. Just many ganks just going right his way. He was constantly a problem. He was landing such great slingshots, manning such managing to get Tristana ahead in the first place over in the bot lane with 2 repeated ganks and getting double kill both times. Managing to help keep that Yasuo and Jace oppressed. And Borwick just unable to really out-gank him. And then late game just landed so many crucial slingshots and ults that managed to pull the important people closer to the Tristana and the Jace that allowed them to get those kills that I believe Zach is my MVP for this game. Good job, Zakam. What about you?
I mean, I want to give credit to the entirety of I'm Loving Libtards. I feel like they drafted a team comp and they played around it really well. They played those team fights very, very cleanly. They were always initiated by the Zach, and then they had the rest of the team moving up behind him. They played him well. The Vladimir and the Yasuo and the Twitch were able, and the Warwick were able to kind of get on the back line a little bit in some of those fights, but overall, they executed really well. However, looking at the stats, there were only 4 kills of the 34 that Zakam was not a part of. This guy did 27k damage on a tank Zach, more than anybody else in the game. I think that speaks for itself. I have to give Zakam the MVP. Overall, his team played very well around him too, but I mean, this guy really made it happen throughout the entire game. Well done to him, and well done to the entirety of the About Living Libtards. This played an excellent team game.
Indeed, well played for them, and well played for Becky's Babes and everybody else who made it through. We will get to see these other teams play off against each other in the losers bracket tomorrow, so do not forget to tune in. For round 1, we have Dangerous versus the Party Squad, and GG versus those darn Vikings. And the winner will go on to face Into the Rabbit Hole and the IRS respectively. And then they'll fight each other to see who wins that. And then they will go on to face Becky's Babes at a chance to get back into the grand final and take down this, what seems to be a pretty strong team.
Absolutely. They haven't really shown a lot of weaknesses. I mean, I think throughout the game, I remember Taco playing on the Morgana and this time playing on the Jace. I'd say those are 2 very different champions. They look great on both of them. I think showing a lot of versatility in the mid lane. Zakam, having a great jungler in a team is always so helpful because he can help out lanes that aren't doing well and snowball lanes that are doing well. So I think having that, plus having a strong bot lane and top lane as well, we just look like a really well-rounded team, and to top it all off, they're playing well together. They're taking objectives, they're doing it on time. The only thing I thought of this game was they didn't get that early Infernal because Sir Cave kind of sneaked it while Zakam was top lane. Other than that, I thought they played the team fights well, and they played around objectives really well. A lot of Barons being taken down, not really an opportunity for the other team to contest. So they look like a really formidable team, and definitely anybody who plays against them in the grand finals are going to have a tough task ahead of them.
Well, once again, I would like to thank everybody for participating. Remember, tomorrow's stream should be streamed on the Warriors of Azire stream for the losers bracket at 3:30 PST, 6:30 EST. I hope to see you all there. It's based on today. It should be an exciting round of games. And we once again should be joining you for that one as well. I believe Vest will be taking over the Shoutcaster for that one and for Sunday. And thank you all for so much for watching. And we'll see you all tomorrow, unless Vest has any closing thoughts.
I have none. Well played to all the teams. Thanks for all the participants and our viewers. A lot of fun to cast.
I think he means ban Evelyn. All right, have a good one, guys.